I just realised we're having a discussion and then I forgot to start recording. It's fine. Nothing of note happened. It was just...
I don't know what you mean.
It was just talking about sound flaws and other interesting content like that.
Yeah, interesting content like sound flaws and nothing about sponsors.
Well,
that don't exist.
the sponsors will come eventually.
Yeah. All right, so your podcast has started now, huh?
It has started now, yes. Welcome to the show, Sam.
Good. Oh,
what do you
it's
do
good
with
to
your
be
life?
here.
You're
Not a lot that I'm meant to say, I guess, if we're talking about uni and everything.
You're an artist, a voice actor of some description, and
amateur of
some
both,
description.
and programming student, yeah. And a retail worker.
A
very glorious person to have on a podcast.
Specifically a greeter. That's the important part.
Yeah, a couple of things we have in common. We work in retail and we're programming students.
Except I do the easier job. I don't have to talk to people.
Yeah, well, I do. And I have to talk to a lot of people.
Yeah, how's the greeting?
Do you want to talk about retail?
Hey, we can start on retail. When Kenley was on, we talked about economics for the first 20 minutes.
Okay, well, I'm afraid I can't really satisfy that topic, so retail it's going to have to be. All right, well, let's. If we're going to talk retail, I think the best thing to talk about retail is retarded customers. Actually,
wait 1 sec before you do that. I just realised I didn't actually check if the audio sounded fine with the original the sound check. So let's just do that on camera.
Oh, good.
Say words. Oh, okay, it looks fine. Yeah, okay, cool. I should have done that before we started recording, but whatever. Anyway, yes, retail.
Okay. So yeah, I think the best thing to talk about in retail that people would find interesting is the kind of people you encounter. And I'm sure you've probably encountered your fair share of strange, interesting people, especially if I recall you work late night shifts, and that's where they really come out of the woodwork.
Yeah, night field
in my opinion.
In a poor area is fun. I enjoy it.
All right. Let's start with the easy one. I'm assuming you've probably encountered like theft attempts and things like that.
Yeah. Usually, they've already succeeded in the theft. Like, they'll steal a dare or something and start drinking it.
Like, in front of you, just like, yeah, can't stop me now, motherfucker. That sort of thing?
I've had a couple of that, and a couple of people just... I don't think I've seen anyone blatantly trying to steal anything besides just a drink. If it's something like that where they can just consume it in the store. But as for stealing, like, I don't know... batteries or a steak. No, I haven't seen that.
Okay, well, yeah. Coles, I guess, is also being primarily a grocery store. Wait, should I not say that?
I have a LinkedIn. They can find it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, well, a grocery store probably wouldn't have the same sort of thefts as, and I'll happily say I work at Kmart. Sorry, Kmart. Thefts, I mean, that's obviously going to be super common, especially if you're the person standing at the door who's checking bags and everything, blah, blah, blah. They're not always too interesting. We have these people called the double docketers who are trying their hardest to replicate receipts and things like that.
Oh.
They're not IT savvy, you can say that much. They figured out receipt paper, and, I give admiration to that, and they figure out the general format, but you can look at a receipt, and if you spent, 5 years staring at Kmart receipts, you'll immediately notice when something's even slightly off, and you're just like, God, here we fucking go. And you just all you have to do is stand there for 10 seconds longer than they want you to, and they'll just give up. They'll try to walk out with a trolley, not try to take the receipt or anything like that, and you just have to call security. But security is
really hit and miss. We had an old security guard who would just stand at the door and did nothing else. But recently we've got a couple of new guys who they actually will walk up and down the store and try to see if people are doing shit.
Yeah, unfortunately, security isn't going to be decided by the company you hire from. It's going to be just pretty much luck of the draw on the person you draw. There's always going to be new security guards and older ones, and typically the older ones are going to be the ones who are better.
It depends.
Typically, there is.
Yeah.
Yes, I was going to clarify a little bit further on that, in that we have Westfield Security, and some of them awesome people. They're really, really great security guards, and they'll do a great job. Other ones, and it is some of the older ones, will just sort of watch you as you call security, and someone's going to steal, and because you can't, as a greeter, you're not allowed to do anything to stop them or anything like that, so you have to let them go if they try to go. Then the security guard just goes up to you and is like, "Why didn't you stop them?" It's like, that's your fucking job, man.
Well, you could do what I think it was my store support did. He actually tackled someone once.
Yeah, no, I get fired for that. They've told me.
Oh, yeah, you think?
Because I joked about it.
But hey, if you're the store support, it doesn't matter. You can do what you want.
I guess so. Like, I mean, there's nothing I'd like to do more than just tackle someone or, throw them onto the ground or something like that if I can get away with it. But I do like having a job and some sort of
it does
income.
help pay the bills, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, we're Australian. We get Centrelink if we're studying and all that.
Hey, well, right now, you could just not work and you'd be getting paid more, so...
Really?
Yeah, do you not know how much JobKeeper is?
No, not familiar at least.
More than
Go
you're
on,
making.
enlighten me.
Considerably more than you're making. I think it's somewhere in the realm of 400, 500 a week.
Right.
So,
I'm pretty sure even students are getting that, though.
yeah,
Because I'm getting that.
yeah, well, you can be a student as well to get it, but you don't have to work. If you just chose not to, you'd be fine. So,
Okay, well,
we're going into a
I
good...
do want to finish my degree. Sorry.
Yeah, no. Oh, that's a good idea. Finish the degree. That's
Dude, it's great because if we do badly on a subject, we can just apply for a non-graded pass before we get our grades.
data web mining is what I'm doing that for.
Yeah, man, that is such a shit fest.
I don't know what I'm going to get for the second assignment, but it's not going to be good.
You had trouble with it?
No, I didn't. I didn't have trouble with the first either, but I got a P1 on the first.
First one was so easy. That was a piss take.
Yeah, I got a P1
Wait, you got
on
a-
it though.
Really?
Yeah.
I got an HD.
Maybe it's because I'm always grilling him.
It's just a hate act.
Honestly, like, if
He's
he
like
gives
a
me a P1 on
fucking
the
Brody.
second one as well, I'm just going to take a non-graded pass. I don't care.
Yeah. Oh man, that week was such a shit fest with everything due on the same weekend. I'd put in way more time on the ICT stuff, like the design document draft and status report.
Yeah.
That was an easy one. The status report, not too long, took like a day. Put way too much time on that draft, and then I had the weekend to do the data web mining shit. Because I'm not a very good work everything. I like to do one thing at a time, take it all out one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Fortunately, luck of the draw, design draft was not the thing I should have done first or second, because then it was extended by a week.
I did.
And then I had everything else that was still due on the weekend, and I was so fucking mad.
Yeah, I had gotten stuff done, I think, by the Tuesday for the ICT project, and then he gave us the week extra. And I was like, I'm not going to redo my status report just because you gave us a longer week for it. I got an HD on the first one, got an HD on the second one,
Yeah,
I got an
they're
HD
pretty
on the
easy.
third one.
I mean, like that third status report I made, that was a work of art, I must say, because it actually had words. Where at the first two ones, we hadn't even been allowed to start our project because we're working with the government, and we can't really say much more than that. I don't know if Corey ever did.
I don't know. I don't think he said anything.
No,
he
he
would
was-
say. He didn't say anything about. I don't know. Go back and listen to the podcast. I guess there'll be a link to that in the description.
What do you mean? I watch every podcast, Brady.
Oh no, I'm talking about the people who are listening. If you want to go find out if Corey said anything that probably breaks an NDA, go find out.
Yeah, good. We're doing our ICT research project for the year with a government police sort of thing. And I've just lost my train of thought as to why this was relevant. Right. Yeah, because of all that and all the, police clearance and everything like that. The first two status reports, we had nothing to write, pretty much. We were just like, they're just like, name some risks. It's like getting to do this project was a risk. Because they weren't even decided yet.
With mine, for the, what was it called? The one we had to explain what the project was.
Yeah.
Whatever that presentation was called. Individual requirements presentation, that one.
Yeah.
In that one, I got grilled because we didn't say what the data was. We didn't have the data at that point.
Yeah, there was some interesting semantic problems with those presentations. Like, there was just, if you didn't say a thing the way they wanted you to say it, they'd pull you, call you out on it.
No doubt.
Yeah. It's frustrating because Corey had a lot more info that they wanted when he presented. He presented before me when we did that requirements presentation. And so I was just sitting there in the chair listening to him talk. I was like, I'm fucked. In the end, it didn't go as badly as I thought. I think because they kind of understood. I was kind of deliberately trying to avoid repeating what Corey had already said.
Yeah.
Because we didn't communicate on what our presentations were. We just went off and did them on our own. So I guess they understood that much. And so long as I had an understanding of what we were doing and everything like that, because I was a delayed joiner of that project because I was trying to get into a different one. I Corey and I worked pretty well together, and we got all of our shit together pretty quick, so it was easy enough to do that presentation, even though like I just started a week ago or something like that.
Yeah, it is good when the projects are actually working. Kenley's one isn't even an ICT project. I don't know if you've talked to him about this.
I've heard things.
It's a research paper. So he has to somehow map a research paper onto a ICT project thing.
Yeah, and he didn't even get any information. Like, he got even less than Corey and I did with being, blocked by police clearance. His bloody, supervisor or whatever went on leave for a month and a half or something.
His supervisor is Andrew.
I'm pretty sure this, like... Was it the uni one or the...
Bruce. It might be Bruce.
I don't know.
No, Andrew is my supervisor, Bruce is my client, and I think it's the other way around for his.
Oh, God. Wait, so he's doing his research for uni? I haven't really gotten like too many details on how his stuff works.
Well, my client is Bruce, but really my client is the CSIRO.
Yeah. Okay.
But my project is a bit of a mess right now because Andrew is doing some teaching in China. Like, obviously not in China. He's doing some online teaching. He just hasn't been able to show up to the meetings, so the meetings have been useless because Bruce doesn't really know what's going on with the project. So he's just like, what are you guys doing? Well, okay, that's cool. Go back to keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, it's like with our meetings, we have, I guess, an IT supervisor. He's not really a supervisor, like on the work side of things, but we more or less treat him like a supervisor because that's pretty much what he does. He makes sure that we're on track and everything like that. He just doesn't want to be called that title for some reason. But then we have like our actual named supervisor, Emma, and she's not an IT person. So she comes to these meetings, and if Travis doesn't make an effort to explain to her what we're doing, or if we don't, she'll just kind of sit there and be like, yes. Smile and wave, boys. That sort of thing.
That's what
I'm guessing that's the sort of...
Sorry?
With Bruce?
No, Bruce teaches VR. So at least he understands, like, the techie stuff. So I was going to say that's what it's like with the meetings with the CSIRO, because the project manager doesn't even know what project she's in, because she's running like 7 different projects, so she's not even sure what the meeting she's in is actually for. Yeah.
Oh, God. So why are we all... I feel like Corey and I have had a massive stroke of luck then, with what we've been doing, because it's been pretty swimming after all the dramas with police clearance and stuff.
How'd that
we haven't had a single issue. Oh, yeah, fine. I've never had to do a police check and I have no idea how it works. So I was like, what if they find something I didn't even know I had? Or some shit like that.
Years ago.
Camera footage, they got like the whole thing. I was like, oh, shit. They got me. Nah, of course it was fine. Yeah, and then it was such a weird experience, to be honest, because, you think like police, government sort of stuff, if you're going to be working with them, you're expecting a super serious environment, or at least that's how it was in my head, canon, I guess. And I came in there, and I was, I guess, maybe because I've never done something like that before, I was trying to make a good impression. I was all serious and stuff. And then we walk into their main IT office, which we are just like 2 rooms down from. And one of the other like main IT developers and stuff has a cardboard cutout Iron Man with a curly mustache painted onto it above his like computer monitor, and our supervisor has a bloody gaming keyboard hooked up to a Dell and all this sort of shit. I know, it's got a little fidget cube stuck onto it as well, which made me upset. And just seeing all that, I was like, oh no, I've made the wrong impression.
Well, a lot of the places are actually like very, very serious. Like, I've got some mates who work in DXC, and there's certain departments in DXC where they're like super serious, always. And then there's other departments where they're trying to, I guess, bring in some of the newer developers, because a lot of their teams are getting really old and they want to, like, I guess, liven up the environment. So they're bringing in a lot of these grads, and it's starting to bring a different atmosphere into the office.
Yeah.
Which I can see why they'd want to do, because it's not like government work pays too well. So you want to do something to try to bring these people into it. And then you've always got the problem of whenever the government changes, a government job just goes up in the air.
I should clarify. I get what you mean as well. And it is obviously still a serious environment, because you can't be careless working in government and things like that. And obviously you're monitored. But it's like, the people are a lot more human, I guess, than I expected. And I don't mean that in the, in a rude way. It's just, obviously they remind us that when you get higher up that chain of government employees and stuff like that, and then it does get a bit more mechanical and things like that, and people would probably re-at you if you laughed during a meeting or something like that. But the people at that sort of level that we're working with is just like the IT, I guess, consultants, supervisors, and people running projects and things like that, small-time project managers. They're all just lovely, awesome people, and it's great to work with them.
Well, I've talked about this with working in a supermarket and back when I was working at in fast food as well.
Retail doesn't compare.
The thing is, you've got... The reason why your manager is generally fairly more chill than like the store manager is because there's a couple of degrees of separation between your boss and the money that's coming into the store. So if your boss does their job well enough, they don't really need care if like the store isn't making 5% extra than it did the previous month or anything like that. And the same is true in those sorts of situations. The people you're directly working with, they aren't the ones who are managing the books and making sure the company stays afloat.
Yeah. Which, that's true. And I mean, it's kind of, you got to understand with like retail and stuff like that as well. Your managers, almost all the time, they seem a little bit like a dick sometimes and things like that. But
mine have actually been pretty good for the most part.
And same for me. It depends on which managers as well. Yeah. And different people coming in. We've had like 3 different store managers in the past year because the good one retired and we hated the ones that kept coming in. But, I try to keep in mind that those kinds of people are probably also under a ton of stress as well, and they probably have to keep up a lot of appearances and things, so they can't be as themselves all the time, even when they're in their own store and things like that.
I think that some of those people are just being themselves. That's the thing. Like, if you want to be a store manager, you have to be a certain weird kind of person who likes to be above everyone else. True.
I mean, we've got like finally like settled on a new store manager now. This guy Travis, and he's great because like I think what's good about him is that he's still that kind of store manager person, that personality, someone who can really bring out authority and stuff like that. But at the same time, he like actually made an active effort to remember everyone's names, which I can't even remember everyone's names. I've been here for 5 years. And then he went around and introduced himself and everything. And I still he'll actually have like a small chat as you come on. Other store managers would be like, "Shut up and do your job, cunt."
Yeah, I don't know.
Sort of thing.
I don't know anyone outside of my department, outside of the managers. Actually, no, I think it's like maybe 1 or 2 people outside of my department where I even bother to remember their names.
Yeah, well, I guess it's kind of different because I'm, door greeter / checkout operator, so I kind of have to be in the middle or front of the store. So I see everyone coming in, coming out, or I see everyone coming through the checkout. So it's hard to avoid meeting all sorts of people from my workplace. Well, don't necessarily want to.
The problem is because I used to be a manager and because I used to be a storeman, anyone who's been around for at least a year, I used to manage Coles. That was fun.
I forgot that.
I was real depressed during that time because I was finishing at midnight some days and starting work at 5 a.m. other days.
Really? Oh, God.
Don't do those 2 jobs at the same time. But so everyone who's been around for at least a year knows my name, and I don't know their names. I'm like, who the hell are you? You know me.
Yeah, well, that's this kind of thing. If you've been like a manager, probably people, not necessarily bad or good, will like mention you in some way or another to at least say that you probably know your stuff as well.
If you're a manager, people just know your name when you work, because if they need to call like grocery help or something, then they'll have to call the manager, or if there's a phone call, they'll have to call the grocery manager, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because it's like you, coming from someone who hasn't worked in a managerial position and would not want to.
You don't have to.
Yeah, I know all the managers and I know them well enough to know what they're like and everything like that. And then I still swear that half of them, I'll like say their name. They'll be like, "Yes, you person." Like even if they're like an area that works with me often enough.
How many people do you actually have working in your store? Because you'd be surprised how few people are actually working at my store. Like a total, I don't know. I know when the new store manager started, he said something about 400 people he has to still like introduce himself to. Sorry, what? And that's probably because casual employees. And so, I don't know. Like this could be all sorts of different kinds of people that keep in mind. You could have the people working in different departments. Sure. You got your people, managers, probably people outside of our local store. I don't know what he was specifically talking about, but he did specify some 400 people he was introducing himself to. Because my store, I barely think we have 100 people who you'd have to introduce yourself to. And that's
Is it
an
small
overestimate.
for a Coles?
No, it's on like Main North Road.
Really? God.
Like the main Coles in that area.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean,
Coles it's a weird one. I don't know how we managed to run it with this few people.
yeah, okay, because the Kmart I work at, I wouldn't consider it huge. Actually, with some of the ones I've seen, it's pretty decently sized. But, you can't, even though we cycle out employees because, casual employment and everything like that, we cycle employees, but I still, can't imagine 400 people cycling in and out of different departments working there. It's hard to imagine. But then at the same time, even with 5 years of working there, I'll be working a shift. Someone will come in, they'll be like, hey, Sam, who the hell are you?
Yeah, I know the feeling.
Who the hell are you? I've been working with you for 3 years. I've
gotten better at it, but there's still a lot of people where I'm just like, I don't know who you are.
Yeah. It's just the most awkward thing when they say that they've been working with me for, X amount of years. And, that sounds like as if you've had conversations with them before, but I'm just like, you did not exist. I don't believe it. You just weren't a person until now. At least that's how my brain works on that shit. I hate that awkward scenario. Because then they'll be like, remember we did this thing? It's like, absolutely not. I don't remember that at all. But I'll take your word for it.
I tend to be better at remembering things that I've done with people than remembering their faces or their names.
A face is easier for me to remember than a name, I find.
Because I also, because both the Nightfall managers, they know me well enough now. Whenever someone new comes into the store, I'm usually the one who ends up training them, which I don't want to do, but there's a lot of people in my store that are not allowed to train people.
Kmart's kind of shit in their training. Like they give you a baseline training, but it doesn't teach you enough to know what you're supposed to do. And then managers get
we do our online training thing, and then the rest of it you just kind of learn as you go.
You have to learn the hard way, yeah. But some managers expect you to suddenly know everything after you've done your online training, and I got that when I started off, and so it became a thing when I had was swapping off of door greeting. It was supposed to call it customer greeting. I get told off if I call it door greeting because they said, you're not saying hello to the door. I was like, I don't give a fuck. I pretty much am. I'm not looking at anyone. I'm just saying hello as a mob of people come in. It's pretty lifeless.
I tend to say hello to the door greeter. I'm just like, hey, no one probably acknowledges your existence.
Yeah, it's a good thing to do because they're also bored as shit. So if you can make a greeter laugh, then that probably makes their day because it's pretty dull. But yeah, if I'm swapping with someone and they're new to door greeting, I just immediately switch into things. I'll see them. I'll be like, have you done door before? And they're like, no. And then I just suddenly was here's everything you need to know before a manager just fucking eats your heart out.
What do you need to know as a door greeter? What does that job entail?
It's kind of confusing because I don't know how much
When I see these
so
people,
weird.
I'm just like, are you doing anything?
Yeah, I know. It doesn't look like we're doing anything. And to be honest, a lot of the time it doesn't feel like we're doing anything. But then suddenly a manager comes by and suddenly it's like, am I doing all these things that I'm not, all these things that I have to be doing that somehow it doesn't feel like anything when you're doing it. We're supposed to be checking bags and everything on the way up. It's such a complicated bullshit set of rules. That's what I'll say, basically. And I'm not sure how much, I don't know. No, Kmart's not going to fucking find out about this, so how would I care? Okay, here's an example.
Well, most of it's not really Kmart specific anyway.
Yeah.
Big W's going to do the same thing, and Target are going to do the same thing.
Yeah. I am supposed to check bags, of course, right? People coming on the way out. But if, I find an issue with something in their bag, I'm supposed to, ask them about it, be upfront about it, and be like, I'll just get a manager. And it's like, for one thing, that's not going to fucking work. If they're stealing, they're not going to just wait for a manager to show up. They're going to run off. Then I have to tell people to call security. Half the time I tell people to call security. I don't have the ability myself for some reason. It'd be easier that way. Half the time I do that, and if people either don't hear me properly because our push talk's really shit, or if, they were busy or something, they just don't bother to tell me that they didn't catch what I said or that they had to wait a moment or something. So I'll just, 5 minutes later, I'll ask, did anyone call security? And just be like, no. It's like, so what's the point? What's the point of having a greeter here? If someone's stealing and you know it, they don't do anything about it.
Well, yeah, that's why we have security at the door as well, so they can actually do something about it.
Yeah, it's good when there's Christmas, they'll have a security guard because he'll actually do something.
Yeah.
Depending on the security guard.
Well, my store, we always have a security guard.
Yeah, that would be nice. But yeah, adding on to that, I've explained this whole concept of, checking bags and what happens when you have an issue, blah, blah, blah. You can clarify in different ways. But then managers expect you to check bags, but then you have a manager like the new store manager who says, by the way, Sam, did you know that we don't want you to check bags or check receipts? And it's like, excuse me? I was like, yeah, we don't want you to check receipts because it's going to be holding up customers and we want to ensure the best customer experience. I was like, so what the fuck am I doing? Am I checking or am I not? And then he's like, no, don't worry, man. You're doing a great job. And it's like, I'm doing a great job of fuck all nothing. I say hello, I say goodbye, I pretend to look at a bag, and they're like, ooh, do you even do anything? And I don't even know anymore.
You surprisingly have one of those weird jobs where it could be automated in a second, but it won't be because they actually want some human interaction there. They'll get rid of the cashiers instantly. They'll get rid of night fillers as soon as they can, but a greeter, I think your job's actually fairly safe, just so they can have someone friendly at the door.
Yeah, well, at least I have that. I think generally, I have had compliments from managers that I'm a friendly person. I have a nice attitude to me and stuff like that. And I guess that's why they keep putting me on the fucking door, because I can at least try and keep a smile going on and keep talking to customers.
I'm suffering inside though.
Oh, absolutely! You could not imagine how dead inside it feels to just stand there for 3.5 hours pretending like you don't exist, or wishing that people would pretend you didn't exist. Mm-hmm. It's easier that way, to be honest. It's not a hard job, but it's, hard in its own ways, whether you're fucking bored out of your mind.
Yeah.
And, so as it stands, given this ridiculous, I pretty much just, by this point, flip a coin on whether I'm going to check a bag or not. Wish I had a coin, it'd be easier. Yeah, look, it's how it is. And apparently I'm good at my job. But other than that, I'm just like a discount customer service person. If someone wants to ask a question, they'll ask me if they're at the front. And because I only work on the door and I don't work the floor, I don't work in apparel or anything like that, I don't actually know exactly where much stuff is because I've never had to work on those levels. And then you can make that complaint and they're just like, oh, just do a walk around the store. It's like, if I do a walk around the store, I'm not going to suddenly scan every item in our fucking, store place and know exactly where it is, if it's in stock and all that shit.
Oh, where can I find scales? I don't know.
Hey?
Where can I find scales that way, inside the store?
Well, 5 years, I have enough knowledge to know the area that it should be. But if someone wants to know, the exact aisle, fuck no.
Oh, yeah.
We change stuff around anyway. How am I supposed to keep track?
I don't know how anyone in that store knows where stuff goes, because it's hard enough to remember where stuff goes in a supermarket where we have, properly laid out aisles. You guys just have aisles just going anywhere, because you have the big clothes sections, and then just aisles of stuff in between, and then just more clothes and other aisles everywhere.
It's this magical guessing game. The few times I've had to do restocking shelves and stuff like that, putting some returns back onto the shelf and everything. It's a glorious game because they're like, oh yeah, you just go to this area. It's like, yeah, I know where that is. Go there. And then I'll spend 5 minutes looking for this one fucking little plushy goddamn knows what that stops the door from closing. And I bet it's not where all the other ones are. And then I'll ask someone who knows, and they're just like, yeah, that one. I used to have trouble with that. It's like, well, why doesn't anyone fix it? And it'll take me to some random fuck off area in the store, and for some reason there's a doorstop, plushy thing there.
Yeah. I can only imagine how much of a mess getting loose stock is. Just stock
I don't care to know.
Yeah, that's why I see whenever I go into a store like that, there's just stuff in places it shouldn't be, because I can imagine that they just don't want to fix it. They should, but it's just too much work.
It's an assumption I make that the people who do night fill and things like that, some of them, as they get more accustomed to their job, they care less about finding the exact spot where something should go. So they're just like, this is the same place that same category of items, put it there. And then when you're starting off new, you'll be trying to be exact, but you'll be slower, and they won't like that you're slower. It's like, but I'm doing the job properly.
Oh, yeah. Well, I had someone the other day. So there's a Gatorade, I think it's called berry something or other. Doesn't matter what it is. It's purple.
Yeah. Purple drink.
There's also a type of mother called berry ice. And this person decided to put the full box of berry ice mother in the Gatorade spot, even though there's Gatorade all around it. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Are you an idiot? They just read berry and thought it was the same thing.
Yeah. And it's that sort of zone up period, I guess. You stop thinking. It's easier to do a retail shift when you stop thinking. Yeah. That's why I hate when people ask me questions.
I always love when I get questions and I'm just standing right next to the item. Have you tried tilting your head a little bit?
Okay, you'll probably love this. So I'm assuming you understand, the general layout of every store would probably be right next to the front trolleys, right?
Sure.
more or less once a shift, maybe less sometimes, maybe once every couple of shifts, I will get someone guaranteed who will come up to me and ask, where are your trolleys, as they come into the store. Right on the other side of this, it's not a very wide area, maybe a couple meters wide. Right on the other side of that is a whole stack of 2 lines of trolleys that should be very obviously seen. It has a sign next to it and everything. But I don't say anything anymore. I just kind of do I'm like scratching my chin or something like that at the time, and I'll just be like, I'll do that. Because they, if you say anything, they just feel stupid. But if you point and just, pretend they don't exist, it's easier for them. They'll laugh to themselves and they'll keep fucking walking.
My favorite one was I had someone ask me where the freezers were. It's like, have you considered walking to the wall of freezers? You can't miss them. You
can't, yeah. Freezers, that's, maybe like a section in the freezer aisles and stuff like that might be harder to find. Sure, but yeah. Freezers are pretty damn obvious.
Yeah.
And they're not going to be like, middle of the store or something like that. You wouldn't expect it.
I actually did see him in the middle of a store once. It was weird. It's much easier to build him into a wall. I don't know why they
Yeah, exactly. That. So you build into one, and for some places it's easier to have it built into the wall because then you can have the refill side of it be on the other side of that wall. You see that in certain things where they actually restock the shelves from behind the door.
Yeah, no, that's too expensive for us. We just stick our hands in there.
Yeah, nah, fuck that. We'll just use ice.
But with the trolleys, the trolley guys are probably the most chill people at my store because they have the worst job.
Yeah, they have really shit jobs, and they get abused by the old people at my work as well. Like they just hate them, really hate them. Like they're so No, go on.
Go on. What are you saying?
Oh, fucking hell! It's gonna be awkward if we keep doing that.
That's fine. It's just because of the online stuff. One day I'll have the podcast in person.
Could be easy. Yeah, so the trolley, I don't know what you call the trolley guys, trolley retrievers, whatever you want to call them. I don't know what their actual name is, like what their job is.
At least at my store, they're a part of the services crew.
Yeah, but I mean, like the name of that role, like a trolley.
Yeah,
man.
I don't know what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, but those kinds of people, they're typically, most of them that I encounter at Kmart are really lovely, and they recognize me now because I'm like one of the few people who either bothers to interact with them or isn't a dick to them. Because I just feel like, I just give them a friendly nod or wave at them, say hello, something like that, and they appreciate it. So every time like these guys come in and I've just started my shift or something like that, they'll see me and they'll be like, oh, hello. Really like friendly and stuff like that. It's better than what I get from like the old Kmart employees because they'll be like, oh, hey, Sam. Go to your job.
Yeah. The jobs
nice
inside
positivity.
The store are too easy. You got to go do the hard job, and then you'll be a really nice person.
It's weird, but yeah, I some of them aren't very good at their job, and they don't stick around too long.
Yeah,
I don't find. But the ones that do a good job, they still get shit from certain like employees and stuff like that. And I want to just like intervene because it's like I'm pretty sure every time that happens, they start working slower.
I was looking for the name of the position, but I can't seem to find it. It seems to just be a part of, at least in my store, just a part of like the Coles services. I don't think there's like a official title. Let's apply for a job. Let's see if we can find it.
They're part of some sort of like organization or something, aren't they, that works with Coles and Kmart? Because we're under the same organization. Whatever you call Coles Group.
Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah, I'm looking at a job right now. It's just store team member cleaning and trolley collection. So, okay. I love that I have this scene set up now, so I can actually show stuff off to the side. So I can. I don't know if you've actually seen the latest episode of the podcast. You didn't watch it. You don't watch the podcast, do you? Anyway.
I don't tend to watch podcasts that much.
Not so good.
I'll be honest.
But when I have like an extra seed now, so I can move the webcam view like off to the side, and then have a like a shot of my my web browser off, so I can show like I don't know, whatever I want to show, which is nice.
Good for showcasing.
I finally bothered to set up OBS. Took me long enough.
I tried using OBS a long time ago with like an older laptop, and I think I understood it well enough at the time, but it was not the right laptop for the job.
No, it definitely wouldn't work. That's for sure.
Yeah, I guess OBS is like a memory sponge, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Joyous, but everyone uses it for streaming and everything, so
yeah, well,
as good as you get.
It's open source as well, so you have a lot of forks of it. Like Streamlabs is the really popular one now for streaming. because that has a lot of integration with. Do you watch any streams? Do you know what Streamlabs is?
Streamlabs is a familiar term, but I don't watch enough streams to really like understand the full extent of it. Like I watch some stream stuff, but not very often. I'm usually doing my own thing.
Yeah, okay. Well, most people like doing super chats through like YouTube, but Streamlabs has their own thing, and they just don't take a cut of it, or it's a smaller cut than YouTube takes at least. So a lot of people like to do their donations through Streamlabs, just because they get they get a bigger cut of it. It just makes more sense for the creator and also for the viewer, because if you're donating some money, you want obviously the money to go to the creator.
Yeah, I don't really follow like YouTube streams that much. To be like, that being said, if I'm following a stream, it's probably from Twitch.
Oh yeah, people do it on Twitch as well, but they've got their like
it's the big daddy. Yeah, I don't know. Like streaming is it's a cool thing. I understand the appeal for it, but it's just something I to sit there and watch someone stream for 3 hours is not really something I really want to be doing. I don't know what I do with my time, to be honest. When I think about it, I just exist. But I don't like sitting there watching a stream so long.
I do like watching streams, but I like watching the recorded version. Obviously, I won't sit there and just watch
VOD.
it. Yeah, the VOD. I won't just sit there and watch it. Usually, I have it on when I'm, I don't know, I'm making some thumbnails for some videos or checking through Reddit to mine some video ideas, things like this.
Yeah. If I do that, I always lose focus. I can't like have two things going on at the same time. Like if I'm working or if I've got a podcast or something on at the same time, I'll probably just like mind will just get switched onto the podcast and I'll be listening to that too much. I won't focus sufficiently. So I try to just not have those distractions around.
Well,
just not help.
My main time I listen to podcasts is when I'm out walking.
Yeah.
Where honestly, it doesn't matter if you're not focusing on the walking. That's kind of the point.
It's half the point, because you don't want to be. If you're too zeroed in on the fact that you're walking, it's not going to. Walking is not just an experience. That the idea of it is going to be like, yay, walking. You're not gonna think that. You're gonna be like, fuck me. Nothing's happening. It's a nice day outside, cool, but it's not not going to keep me entertained for half an hour.
Well, I guess that first day after winter, you're like really excited to be walking, but
exercise, God.
I have been a bit lazy on it lately, just because it's been real wet outside, and it's like, I don't want to go outside.
Yeah. Well, exercise was really great for me last year. With I used to be a lot more overweight and everything, and I lost a ton of weight doing judo, and then started picking up the gym as well and stuff like that.
I was
felt great.
You guys at the gym, and then all of the
stuff
I know,
yeah.
Literally a week before I was going to join, lockdown.
Amazing. Yeah. And all that shit, and that was going really good for both Corey and I, because I was dragging him to the gym. It's a lot better going to the gym as well, for me as well. Like my motivation is terrible. I'm terribly self-disciplined, and you probably know that.
Yeah, I'm well aware.
In various ways. I'm
surprised you showed up on time. That's impressive.
Fuck you. Yeah, I mean, look, when something's important, I think I always do my best to try and make sure I'm there on time and deliver. But I'm haphazard. I know that I'm a living hazard most of the time.
Depends on how you define important. That's the thing.
That's true, and it's. Oh, we're gonna go completely derailed from what I was just talking about.
That's fine.
This is something that stresses me out with uni and things. For example, maybe a certain assignment we're supposed to be doing due Monday this weekend or something.
You should probably do the introduction for that, because you had the smallest workload.
I could do that. I am happy to do. Yeah, because Matri and I are divvied up on the same section, and I don't like being like when you got like this person doing this section, this person doing this section, these people doing this section, and it's like equal amount of work, but then two people doing half of half.
Yeah.
It feels bad. It doesn't feel good. But introduction or abstract, anything like that, I love doing those because I'm really good at writing.
You don't have to write anything too complex. We just need it for the draft. It could be garbage.
It could be garbage, and most of the time an abstract is.
Well,
but there's a certain way to do eloquent garbage.
Sure, yeah.
That's a word for it, or phrase, I should say. And as I was going to say, with exercise and stuff like that, exercise is terrible. Self-disciplining myself to do it happens so rare. Well, like getting yourself to do it on your own.
Sure, I know the feeling. I was trying to exercise by myself for a while. We had like a gym at my old place, and I would push myself to do it, and then I got lazy for a day, and then I just stopped. Yep,
exactly. It's so easy to like break that chain. And people often say it's hard to develop a habit, but once you do, it's hard to break the habit. But to be honest, see enough. Corey and I were going to the gym 2 to 3 times a week every week. And then with lockdown suddenly going down, we spoke about doing exercise. Never happened. It was gone. It was just out the window. And yeah, but like when you've got someone there, it's not even like a social aspect all the time. You don't have to always be talking to the person you're going to the gym with, but hello? We all good there?
I don't know what that was.
It's car horn, surely.
I got that much.
Yeah, it's not even necessarily like that you have someone to talk to there. Obviously, you probably would end up talking, and that's what Corey and a couple of my other friends and I do. But it's just like kind of, if you're associated that, you go to the gym together, then it's also a bit of like an expectation of yourself and from the other person that you go to the gym when they do. And you want to meet that expectation, unless you're a dead weight. But, good enough we haven't been with Jim.
Yeah, try to at least keep up appearances at least. Show up, even if you don't do anything.
I mean, once you're there, you'll probably do something, because you'd be a bit awkward going to the gym and just standing there.
Well, I mean, you could just like...
For the personal trainers.
You could just go light on yourself. Like, oh, I can do this much weight, but I'm going to do half of it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you've ever met Slip, my friend Slip. He came and played squash with us a few times and things like that. Really nice guy.
Never done squash with you guys.
Oh, really? I thought you did.
That's another thing that we were supposed to do at some point, just never got to it.
Yeah. Who was it that did squash with us then? I thought it was you. I don't know anymore. Okay, well, it doesn't matter. Slip, really nice guy, but he is a hulking mass of a man, like compared to other people who like computers and IT typically. He's very, very fit, and he does say that, there's nothing wrong with doing half the, you don't always want to go for your max weight, because there's different kinds of trainings you can do. You could do half the weight that is your max, and you could just do as many reps as you can until you get tired.
Well, what I meant
endurance
was like, you're just like putting half the effort in.
Yeah,
obviously you can do
half the
more
effort
reps of less weight, but I meant like you're kind of just not
do the same but with less.
Yeah, it's like, I can do 20 reps on, I don't know, 30 kilos. I'm going to do 20 reps on 15.
Yeah, no, then you're literally just doing. You're barely going to be exercising anything probably, or if you are, it's going to be very light exercise, and it's not necessarily a bad thing all the time if you're really sore. But if you're just doing it because you're a lazy piece of shit, what's the point of going?
I don't know how we got
too mean, but hey,
how'd we get to this? I don't know.
We somehow got from retail to exercise.
No, I mean, how did we get to being lazy about working out? We got to you and
no idea.
Corey going to the gym. I was going to join you guys.
Yeah, and which you should when everything eases up again.
Yeah, I will.
It'll be good for you.
Yeah.
Good for all of us.
I hope my wrist is better by then. I don't know what I did. I fucked up my wrist a while ago, and it's gotten worse. No, basically it was from when I did my storm and stuff. And yeah, I don't know. I need to get someone to look at it, because it's been a serious problem for a while. Yeah.
That, I think, and this is a conversation I was having with a friend of mine, actually might have been part of yesterday or on the previous weekend, talking about a friend in Brisbane. She's an artist, and she has very severe issues with her shoulder and some of it in her wrist. And it's given that she's very passionate about being an artist and everything like that, she's, never really going to be able to find the time to try and heal what is, a repetitive strain injury. And it kind of, we talked about this, it's like any sort of computer heavy oriented thing that's going to require a lot of movement of your wrist and stuff like that. And that's art, programming, animation, all those sorts of things is probably going to start doing some damage to your wrist. And if you are working working towards it either as a job or an aspiration that you need to keep at, then you're not going to have a lot of time to rest it, and you're going to keep those injuries for a long time, or possibly permanently injure yourself. And it's kind of something we all, I think, if we're all going to be going into programming and stuff like that, something we all need to be prepared for or aware of. Which sounds dumb. It's like,
true. No, that's fair.
Yeah, it's just like, because it's a dumb concept. You think like the job where you literally are doing this when you're working, you're like, multi-chinning.
Mate, if you're working like
around,
that, I'm impressed.
Somehow you injure yourself.
Now, I think the what I did from it was actually doing something that you could actually injure yourself with. Originally, what it was lifting pallets by myself.
Oh, yeah. Which they tell you not to do.
But when you're the storeman, you're the only one there. So that you actually have to break OHS rules to do your job.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah, it's like how they tell you there's only one way that you can do like picking up of an item from the floor or something like that. You have to use your knees and all that stuff. Be honest, I don't always do it.
Yeah, you
Somehow
should
we're back to
definitely. There's some older people at my store who don't do it. I'm like, you're like in your 50s.
No, you're trying to break.
Are you an idiot? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Look, bending the knees, that's obviously a habitual one, I think. If you know to do it, you'll probably do it.
Sure, yeah.
But then there's like one that really gets me is when they have charts of like the technique to picking something up, like just like a small thing off the ground. And it's like, you need to really pivot your leg up into the air as you pick up the item. It's like, why don't you just squat down?
Yeah,
it's not hard.
Do everything with a squat. That's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah.
Whether it's the best or not, I don't know.
Get some exercise into you. God damn. Oh, man. All right. Seeing as retail keeps coming back up, let's try and go into something maybe a little bit more interesting. Judo. I picked up judo for a year. Obviously can't continue at the moment because, and that's been an awesome experience and for my health and just for a lot of things, just really interesting. But it was an interesting relation to retail and how it helped me with, I don't know, when I was not very physically well exercised and not fit, squatting was still annoying. Even, it's just an awkward thing. I wasn't very balanced, stuff like that. Judo, you do a lot of squatting because you're throwing people over your shoulder or around you, to the side of you, all that sort of stuff. You got to really be good at crouching down and getting back up real quick. So suddenly, just in my day-to-day life, it used to be if I had to crouch down to do something, it'd be like real groaning, like, do it. Everything cracks, like my knees are cracking and like I feel fucking horrible doing it, like really slow. And then suddenly out of nowhere, it was like, without even thinking of like how it had developed over time, I just found myself like, oh, I gotta go and pick something up, grab something out of like a lower drawer. Whop, whop, squat down, instant, super easy. I was like, holy shit, I'm like a ninja.
Squats are one of those things that no matter how unfit I get, I can just do as many squats as just fucking way too many squats because I'm always just doing them at work.
Yeah. As an exercise, it seems to be one that you can do pretty like extensively. You can do a lot of squats before you get tired. Same thing I find with sit-ups. If you do them properly as well. It's a similar thing with sit-ups. I think, my God, watching some people do sit-ups is very interesting because you see like people who can't figure out how to get their position right so that they don't just, as they try to sit up, their legs like go up into the air or something. There's ways to fix that. And if you do it by weighing your legs down with a certain object, if it's too heavy an object, you'll probably just be using that leverage instead of actually lifting with your core and stuff like that. But sit-ups, I do find, is one of those things that I can do so many of them, and it doesn't feel like I'm actually going to get an exercise out of it. I find out the next day.
No, I'm completely opposite with sit-ups.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. So how many can you do? Like, how many sit-ups can you do before you get
I haven't done it in a while.
Sit-up, I could do like 100 and then I might probably be tired of doing 100 proper sit-ups, but like I could do 100 of them and I'd still be like, am I going to actually feel exercise out of this? The next day I'll find out.
Oh yeah,
quite,
sure.
I'll be like sit up in the morning and be like, no, we're going to roll out of bed tonight. Not today. Not tonight.
Yeah, that's how it's like that sometimes. Like the first couple of weeks especially is the worst part for getting back and working out one. I feel like I've learned after doing it for long enough, after giving up exercising enough times, what like a good point to go to is, like where my body is saying, okay, you're being a bitch and this is your actual limit. Yeah. Because once you get past that limit of you're just being a bitch, you have a lot more that you can do.
Yeah, it also feels bad when you knew, like, when you were younger and stuff like that, you could have done a lot more, and then you see how much you've degraded as well. That sucks.
Yeah, I don't want to... I see people who are in their, 30s and 40s and they're just falling apart, and it's like, I don't want to do that.
No, it's exercise and health and stuff like that. I still got to improve a lot of it, and I just want to get better and better at it. Because when I was younger, I was active. Even though I was a super nerd, playing games all the time and stuff like that. In primary school, high school, I was still pretty active, and I could run and do all of that stuff for a long time. And then suddenly, uni, I'm just like, I'm fat and I can't run for more than 10 seconds.
Yeah, no, that's weird, sucked. Isn't it? Because I don't know what it is about that. Because you go you're in primary school, in high school, you can go to PE class, work out a bit, then you leave that and you're like, oh, now I'm somehow fat. How did this happen?
Yeah, and it's PE wasn't even that major. You do it once a week, maybe twice. Yeah, and somehow we never really do that. Maybe it's a part of being young and stuff like that. I hate saying that because we're still only 21, that sort of age. It's pretty.
I'm 22 now.
Crusty old man.
I forgot about that. I thought I was 20 the other day. It's like, oh,
yeah.
God.
It's weird to like not describe yourself as young because you're not old, but you know there is a section of people who are younger than you, and that's what I mean when I say young. You know, when you're like a teenager and stuff like that.
The thing is that you're probably older than a lot of the people working in your store.
Oh,
because you'll have all like the high schoolers getting their first job, and you're like, that was like 6 years ago when I could have done that.
yeah. Look, I meet new people, and some of them like are way more mature seeming than I would think, and like I'll be cracking jokes with them and stuff like that, and then they'll be like, we'll start talking about education and stuff like that. I'll be talking about uni, assuming that they're in uni, and then just like, oh, I'm still in like year 10. I was like, yeah, what the fuck?
There are a couple of people like that. Those are the people that I actually like working with, because you have there's two kinds of teenagers. There's the ones who their parents tell them you have to get a job, and there's the ones who want some extra money.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there's I mean, there's also like varied personalities and levels of maturity that you find in teenagers and stuff like that. And sometimes I meet younger employees who I'm like, oh my god, you're like way better than I was. At like, just your outlook on life and things like that. I was like, shit, what was I doing with my life when I was year 10? I was probably like fucking. I don't even think I would have.
Playing RuneScape and watching lots of anime.
Yeah,
So
I'd have been playing like
now, just no RuneScape.
Yeah, I'd have just been playing fucking StarCraft 2 every night or something like that. Maybe doing homework if I felt like it.
What was homework?
And these people, hey, what was homework? Yeah, exactly.
Mate, up until uni, I just did stuff on the last day.
Yeah, God. Uni. It was weird because, like, I didn't have to do too much, like, a lot before. I could get away with doing things a couple of days before in high school and stuff like that. And then uni, it was like, I still do that sometimes. It depends on the subject. But there are ones where you I don't know, you just seem to know that you need to focus on it a bit more, and you just do it. Unless you're a certain someone we know. A certain creature. Yeah, you know the one.
On that for a minute.
I don't think it's an appropriate person to name.
I think I've named him on the podcast.
But you know the one.
Yeah.
We can call him Glorthgalob.
Glorthgalob, sure, yep.
Yes, Glorthgalob. Yes, Glorthgalob is a specimen of a creature who somehow is in the same year as us of uni.
Technically not. He's failed some classes.
Well, yes, but he's still there. You know the one, and despite so many failed classes, they haven't kicked him out yet, and they kept threatening to, but he's still there, and thinks so highly of himself.
But there is one class he's real excited about. His Japanese class.
Ah, yes.
He was so excited about going to Japan as well.
Oh.
I think he was going to like have to do like a homestay or something in Japan. He was so excited about it. It's like, mate, you're failing everything else. Like, what are you doing?
Damn Glorthgalob.
Why are you even in a software engineering degree? Like, just go and do like a language study or something.
He wants to be a game designer. I want to be a game designer, and he's.
I know.
Well, not game designer, but a game developer. And I mean, I don't consider myself the most thrifty programmer out there, not even slightly, because compared to say you or Josh Steele, who are very applied people, in your spare time you encounter so many things beyond what we learn in uni. You guys are doing phenomenal work in that thing. It's obviously not the same for me because it's not what I want to apply myself to. I just got to learn Unity.
Sure. Yeah. Unity is fucking meme. I hate Unity. We can talk about Unity in a moment, but anyway, yeah.
I haven't delved too much into it myself, but I didn't mind it. I hated another thing very similar to it.
Yeah, but we can talk about that in a moment. I want to put Unity under the bus for a bit.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. I'll be interested to hear it, but. Compared to people like you and Josh, I'm obviously not the most applied programmer. I'm still what I would think, compared to other people we have in our year level, a pretty damn good programmer. I can program, I can figure things out, I can solve problems pretty well. It's been great with Corey because Corey's obviously a much better work ethic. He's a hard line, keeps going. I'm like the person who's near about to have a heart attack because their heart rate's going up and down. Because I'll have moments where I'm brain dead, and then suddenly I'll have these brilliant moments, and it irritates Corey sometimes because he'll be stuck in a problem for a few hours. And he's a great programmer. He's he gets work out great.
Sure, yeah.
But he gets stuck on something and he can't figure it out. And then I'd be like, what if you did this thing? It's like this 3-hour problem, like stupid solution suddenly works. It's brilliant. mad respect for Corey because he's a great person to work alongside with. We rally ideas really well and stuff like that. But yeah, not the best programmer, but then you think I could still do, I can still achieve what I want to achieve and things like that, and still manage to, especially when I'm passionate about it. If Glorkalov, if Glorkalov is aspiring for the same things, and I consider myself to be not, capable, but not the best in my field of programming, what hope is there for this man who thinks so highly of himself when he applies nothing?
Well, yeah, whenever I see him, he's playing Smash, and that's all. And then breaking controllers because people are better than him at Smash, even though he says he's great at it.
God. Were you there when he threatened to attack me because I kept beating him with one character?
No, I wasn't there.
Physical violence threat. It would have been very interesting if that resorted to that, but it didn't, and I'm glad for that because incidents are bad in uni, and you don't want to have that on.
Well, I guess you can test how good you are at judo.
Hey?
You can test how good you are at judo, yeah.
It was an interesting thing with that because in a previous thing where, say like working at Kmart, I'd be threatened with violence or something like that. And putting aside the thing where you're not supposed to defend yourself, I think if I were to be attacked and Kmart, fuck my job, I'm going to defend myself if I have to. Yeah. Because I don't, if they tell you just run away, it's like, fuck, if someone's, got a knife at you, I don't think you've got much chance, buddy.
No, for sure.
Yeah, you fight or flight, man. I'm not a violent person. And it was interesting thinking after I had been doing judo for probably at the time 8 months or so, that like the way I saw a situation completely changed. It wasn't like, first it was he just threatened violence and he was very serious about it. Mm-hmm. And in my head, it was immediate rather than like being like, oh God, he could have tried to attack me. It was something like, how do I defuse the situation verbally? And if it gets into a bad situation, what do I do to defuse the situation physically? And it was like this fucking head calculation. It felt like bloody John Wick. Of course, the execution probably would have been so much more awkward because I was still like a yellow belt.
To be fair, he's not even a white belt.
Yes. And like, because there's, you don't have to be a professional at like a martial art and like a proper martial art one that actually, talks about how to manipulate someone else when they're like pushing or pulling in a different way. You just need to know the basics to know how to get someone on the ground and put them in a way that they can't really resist you that well.
Sure, yeah.
There's physics, the ones that actually apply logical physics to a position and stuff like that. And someone of Glorkalop's physique would not be a difficult one to do that to. Same height as me, more or less, or even possibly shorter than me, which is an advantage in judo. Huh?
It's been a while since I've seen him, so I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I think more or less the same height. More or less the same height. That's that's fair play. When they're smaller, typically it's a lot easier. So either or, that's an easy situation. And then you get into the actual thought of it is if he's someone who probably doesn't know much about any form of combat. I'm not some professional. If someone tried to punch me, I wouldn't know how to properly block a punch. I do judo. We don't strike.
Sure.
But if he's pushing or pulling in one way or another, that's a situation where he probably wouldn't know what I'm going to try to do, and you could just sweep a leg. You don't have to be a pro at that to just sweep a leg and know how to push someone's head to get them off balance. He goes on the ground, you just get his arm in a certain position, hold his neck, and he's done. He's on the ground. He can't push out.
Well, knowing him, he'd probably try to like grab your shirt or something. In which case, you could just sweep his legs and he's on the ground.
Yeah.
Obviously, someone who's actually trained at fighting, you wouldn't be able to just do that to, but someone who has no idea what they're doing, you can just sweep their legs and they'll be gone.
It's a thing to consider because, even when they train you in judo, they don't want you to go looking for a fight. And I wouldn't want to go looking for a fight because there's so many things I could do wrong. And there's a difference between when you're training, even when you're sparring too. If you get into that real situation, adrenaline pumping and everything, people act in different ways. But if you do succeed at, you'll know exactly the process you have to follow to get them into a lockdown where they can't do anything. And there's a particularly really easy thing to learn. I forget what it's called because it's been a while. Thank you, lockdown. I think it's called Kezugatame or something like that. It's a lockdown where you have the one arm locked under your armpit and the other your arm around their neck. Mm-hmm. Let me just Google if this is correct before I keep talking about this.
I'll put it up on the screen.
Yes, it's Kezugatame, or Kesagatame. And you basically, the way I describe it is you kind of position your legs in a sort of tripod sort of thing outwards from your position. And what's really good about that is that they've got an arm free, so they could try and do something to you, but the way you position yourself, typically it's not easy for them to reach around and grab you in ways. There's ways to get out of it, and if you know. But for someone like Glorkalov, if he was on the ground in that situation, the position is very easy for you because it requires a lot more effort for someone to push you off of them in that position than for you to hold them. You have your weight on them. You have a leverage situation with the position of your legs, so that everything is more or less just stopping them from pushing up. That's a really simple thing to learn. If you even understood how to do that, you don't have to be someone at judo. If someone, if you were threatened and someone fell on the ground or someone was doing something in a store and you wanted to try and do something, I don't necessarily recommend it because, as they always say, don't be a hero. But if the opportunity presents itself, why not?
Well, this right here, this is why you don't go looking for a fight.
Yes. Oh, please. Because it's, you talk about martial arts and things like that. People think that you can fight anyone, but you should never go out of your way to fight someone. So
someone tried to mug a UFC fighter, a female UFC fighter, and that went exactly as well as you'd expect. She beat the crap out of him.
Wait, have you...
I sent a link.
Oh, good.
So...
Oh, no, yeah.
Don't try to mug people because they might be in the UFC.
Yeah, I mean, your chances of that is not too high.
Sure, but that's why you don't go looking for a fight. They could at least be, just trained in a martial art.
Yeah. As I said, in all honesty, even if you are trained in a martial art, things can go wrong.
Oh, of course, but if the person who's coming after you has no idea what they're doing, your chances are better. If
you aren't able to, or for some reason you're deciding not to try and evade the situation and you have to go get into it the proper way, then it gives you an edge to even know a little bit about self-defense. It doesn't have to be a martial art per se. Self-defense comes in many different forms. But to know something is always going to be helpful. And I think judo and jiu-jitsu, things like that. Hey, sorry?
Go for the nuts.
Yeah. Not incorrect, to be honest. There's 3 areas that I can't remember where I heard this, but this, if you're not a martial artist and things like that, or you're not a fighter, there's 3 things you can do to try and disable a situation a bit more easily. 3 areas you should go for: the shin, the groin, and the neck. Because the neck, obviously, no matter how strong you are and stuff like that, your neck is always going to be a little soft thing. And if you hit someone, straight in the windpipe or the Adam's apple, whatever, no one's going to like that. They're going to be coughing for air. They'll be, it's going to suck. Hit them in the groin. It doesn't have an immediate effect, but that effect, when it builds up, is always going to resonate.
Well, there's a good reason why in UFC and MMA, eye shots and nut shots are against the rules, because they're too effective. They're too damaging shots.
As well.
Yeah.
It's basically, if you're really in a dire situation and you need to defend yourself or you need to hurt someone, it's always the places that are either not with a lot of muscle or places that, just in general, it's easy to hit. So that's always going to be, I missed the eyes as well. Eyes, groin, neck, and especially the front of the neck, the throat. And the shin, because your leg, shin, that's pretty much just like a layer of bone that doesn't have a lot of muscle going in front of it.
Yeah, hope they're not a fucking kickboxer, because then they'll have rock hard shit from doing all fucking leg kicks.
Yeah, exactly. That's the annoying thing with when you're first starting off in judo and people are learning to sweep legs, you are not coordinated and you will kick a lot of shins, or you'll be kicked in the chin a lot.
Yeah, fuck that.
And you're doing can you repeat the throw 5 times or something like that? It's more so get kicked in the shin 5 times. I was all right, cool. I didn't want to walk on this leg. I mean, it's not that bad, but you see the bruise and you're that looks a lot worse than it feels.
Yeah, well, once I finish off with uni, I'm gonna have so much free time for a while.
Yeah,
I need to pick something else up, because I'm the kind of person where if I don't, I get more work done when I have less time. It's weird, because if I have more time, I tend to find myself slacking off more. So I try to fill my time with extra stuff. I
totally agree with you there. This is I know we were supposed to get onto Unity, but this is something I actually really like talking about.
Unity can come back eventually.
Yeah. I really like this concept because I agree with you 100%. The more time free time you have, it seems the less motivated you are to drive yourself to do something. And it's a weird thing with uni, because when uni, a lot of the time for me feels very loose, and I mean, we have a schedule, but it's pretty unscheduled.
There's no schedule now, though. That's the thing.
Absolutely no schedule. Yeah, and that sort of issue. I almost am excited for a day where I can work, a more or less full-time job and stuff like that, because I find more motivation when I am doing something menial in my day, and then afterwards I want to do something with myself. If I have heaps of time in a week or something like that, if I, have literally nothing on for a week, I never achieve anything particularly productive, or it's very rare that I do. I find, and it's this phrase I remember hearing from someone, sort of like finding your dream at the bottom of the kitchen pot, talking about someone having a job where they're a kitchen cleaner, and working in that job is where they sort of found more motivation in what they want to do with their life. Because a lot of people who have a lot of free time, but they don't know what they want to do with their life after uni or when they go into uni. A classic thing these days.
Well, yeah, a lot of people who just go into school because they were in school already, and because they don't have a direction, and they're just like, well, obviously just go back to school. That's going to work. Yeah,
I mean, in all honesty, I was like that for the most part. I mean, I only did software engineering originally. It wasn't even software engineering, it was IT. I only did that because I knew I was someone who liked computers, and I had, at times, a way of figuring things out that my friends didn't. So I was like, I want to learn more about computers. I'm interested.
Whatever. Yeah.
What is going on there?
Oh, no, you can see in the top corner of my screen my blind there, and it was annoying me. I've never had that show up in a shop before.
Right.
But I guess there was a bit too much light coming in through my window. Yeah. I've got the window actually closed right now. Just because it makes it easier to do the lighting. Anyway, I cut you off with my random...
No, it's completely fine. Because this is kind of a bit of a ramble anyway. Something that I think about a lot. Yeah. And I'm interested because I can't quite remember. It's been a while since we've had any deep talks, like talking in your car for 2 hours out the front of my house one time.
Yeah, that was an experience. That was for sure.
Yeah, so weird, but it was fun. Yeah. So, high school, I only went from high school to uni doing IT because I knew I liked computers. I had an interest in voice acting, had an interest in game development, but I didn't know how to apply myself. And I was like, in the end, I hear so many things about you don't actually end up using your degree most of the time, statistically or some shit like that. I don't know the full, stats of that, but I hear it enough. And so my thought was just, I'll just go and do something and do something with my life at the very least and see if I can take it somewhere.
Sure.
But in the end, I'm pretty happy with software engineering anyway, and it does have its applications to game development in the end. But there's so many people who I hear like the same thing, like people saying they don't know what to do with their life without high school. I mean, funnily enough, came out's a good avenue to find people who are kind of looking for answers in a lot of things.
Well, the thing is, a lot of those people who are I don't know if it's the same for you. I would say about 70% of the people who work in my store are either really old people or they're uni students.
Yeah, typically, unless they're like the young new ones.
Yeah, well, and you have those small. We don't really hire kids because kids are shit at their job. We don't hire them.
We do.
Well, usually they go to checkout, and I have to deal with them. But
yeah, well, unfortunately, I do because I'm a checkout operator. If I'm not a dog reader,
you're checkout as well. Okay.
Not often enough.
I'm not pretty enough for checkout.
I can talk to people, so if I have to do checkouts, I can do it.
Yeah.
I don't like the actual checkout part of it. I just like talking to people when they're not shitty. But yeah, I mean, you meet people there who, if you get along with them well enough, you'll hear that they're in uni or they're in high school. And these are the ones I'm talking about, the teenagers and the uni people, who either they're going, near the end of high school and they don't know what to do with their lives, or if they're nearing the end of uni. And it's weird saying this because, I'm still in uni. I am not in any way wiser than them if I'm the similar age. But I have an outlook where I say, to be honest, if you don't know where you're going with your life, don't just, say you get a job opportunity to work somewhere full time. Don't just toss it out the window because you're worried that you'll, not be able to go into the field. There will always be time to search for the job that you want to work. But in the meantime, why not apply yourself somewhere else so that you're doing something and you have an income to support yourself? I see so many people who, even people and friends I meet online who live in Malaysia and stuff like that, who get an opportunity to work a job that they didn't dream of doing after uni. And, in the end, you kind of just got to bite the bullet and take a job while you're doing something, while you're trying to find the one you want to do, because you can't always just get straight into it.
For sure, yeah, I completely agree with you. Because when I first got into uni, the reason I ended up going to software engineering, I was in the mainstream one and then development, then engineering. The reason I got into that is because I had a programming class in my high school. I think year 10 we had a robotics class where we did Lego Mindstorms. I don't know if you ever used that before.
Nope.
Basically, it lets you make like little Lego robots, and then you do basically drag and drop programming. So similar to how like Scratch would work.
Yeah, I've worked with something similar before in primary school. Yeah, primary school.
Yeah,
it was shit.
It's designed towards primary school. We did it in year 10. Anyway, then year 11 we had a Java class where we did development in Greenfoot, which is like a game development it's the worst game development library on the planet. Year 12 we did the same thing, but then it was harder.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, I've always been interested in computers. I'm going to go into uni, I'm going to do programming. And then as I get into that, my interest in like what I wanted to do because I didn't really have a direct interest in programming like some people do. I did like programming just because it was like an avenue to work with computers. But
so it's same as me, more or less.
Sure, yeah.
You did it because you liked, computers and things like that, but you weren't directly wired towards programming.
Yeah, I wasn't like, I want to do game development like some people are, or I want to do networking like some people. I don't know what kind of person you have to be to say I want to do networking, but sure. Especially like from a young age, you're like a 10-year-old, like, I want to be a network administrator.
I want to develop wide area networks,
I don't know. That kid doesn't exist. I'm sure they exist somewhere. Someone in the comments is probably going to be that kid, but I don't believe you're a real person. Anyway, so programming was just an avenue to get into working with computers. And then over a couple of years, I got into doing the YouTube stuff. And I was like, I can start messing with a Linux system and make videos on that. So right now, the degree, I'm going to finish it. But right now it's my backup plan, because if this doesn't work, I can go do software engineering. I can get some like junior position as a web dev. That's fine. Yeah. But if I can make this work, this is more like if I want to do programming, I can do programming. If I want to dick around with tiling window managers, I can do that. If I want to, I don't know, anything, if I want to build computers, that's another thing I could do. So I can still do everything I wanted to do. And it's more of like a general approach to working with computers, still going in that same direction. And I guess the degree, it's not directly helping me do that, but it did let me, I guess, fine-tune where I wanted to take myself, really, I guess.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, it does. It does. So it's hard to say. I mean, I guess you are similar to me, but you had, obviously your own differences. And of course, we're all different people and shit like that. So I see some similarities in the way we looked at things. But you have a much better outlook on the different things that you can do, I would say. My thing is basically I'm hardwired. I want to be a game developer. If that doesn't work, I guess I look into software engineering in some form or another.
I become a manager at Kmart.
No, I would sooner die. Like, in the end, like if it doesn't work out, I'm sure I could live with being a security guard or something like that. And funnily enough, I've been told by like actual security guards, the proper ones that have guns and stuff like that, that greeters are not bad security guards because they know the main way to be a security guard is not actually to fight people and stuff like that. It's to try and defuse a situation. Greeters have to do that. So I actually have an association with like a jewelry store security guard just right next to Kmart. He's a pretty nice guy, and he just told me all this information. So literally, if I can't be a game developer, if I can't be a software engineer, I'll probably just give up on IT dreams and then just become a security guard, at least for the time being, and live that out.
Well, one of my housemates is a jip rocker now. He used to be a software dev.
He's a what?
A jip rocker.
What the fuck is that?
They'll like bring in boards of Jiprock and install Jiprock.
What the fuck is Jiprock?
What? Wait, how do you not know what Jiprock is?
How do you spell this?
I'll send you a link. Here we go. Jiprock. This is a website that sells Jiprock. This is actually a really bad link. I shouldn't have sent this one. Let's find another one. Let's go to images.
I've never heard of this before in my life.
It's like... Here, video. There we go. Jiprock's like plasterboard.
Right.
It's the shit that goes behind your walls. Yeah.
Well, right. I never knew it was called Jiprock. It was just that stuff.
Yeah, here we go.
Okay, so he went from IT to Jiprock.
Yeah, in like the 90s, he was a government software developer.
Yeah, I hear up and down things about being government software development.
As I said earlier, the reason, well, part of why I was saying that before, where your job goes up in the air when the government changes, is because of that.
Yeah.
Because there might just not be funding for your department anymore, or
yeah, they
or
was
might
interested
want
in
to
what you've been
move
working
people
on.
around, or things like that.
Yeah, suddenly everything that you've been doing, you'd be working on projects that previously they wanted you to do, and then suddenly it's like, nah, fuck that.
Yep.
Out you go. Bye-bye.
It's like that with
Good
anything,
glorious.
but at least when there's a financial interest in it, they'll at least try to keep pursuing it while it's making money. With a government project, they're just like, oh, government changes, well, we're going to do something different now.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I won't have to deal with that if I can get into any of the field. I probably, I think it's not too uncommon that
Give me
people
one sec.
find themselves.
Hello?
Very good. Welcome to retail. They can't even call my phone anymore, and I don't know why, but it's a blessing.
Wait.
Like if they want to call me to work sometime, they can't contact me.
Whatever. I don't even know if I had the mic muted before or not. Was it muted?
I don't know. I could hear you.
Okay,
on
well-
Discord.
For some reason, when I tried to unmute it, it went back to mute. When I thought I'd unmuted it, it muted. Whatever.
Mate, technology.
Yeah, technology is weird.
Stuff happens. Remember when you connected to a Zoom meeting for our honors project course?
Oh, I don't even know what was
your
happening
mic
during that one.
Yeah, I know, but it was fucking hilarious when you just suddenly your mic unmuted and you were loud as all hell, and you were like, "Can you guys hear me?" She's like, "Sorry, who is that?" And I had to tell you, I was like, "Bro, to your mic's thing," and then just another thing in the Zoom meeting is this booming voice, just like, "Oh, sorry." And she's just like sitting there, this Karen of a lady with a thick rimmed glass, and she's like, "What?"
I feel bad. That was a waste of a time of her class, but I feel bad, slightly. Not much.
Yeah, it was hilarious for me, though. So funny. Oh, God.
I'm trying to find out when I'm working next week, and our roster system's been down the past couple of days, which is great.
Oh, same here, because we're under the same organization, probably.
So I have no idea
Amazing.
when I'm actually working.
Yeah, it's usually a Tuesday for me nowadays, because I'm Wednesday to Friday I'm working at the government police place that I cannot name,
Government police
or
place
I'm
you
not
cannot
supposed to name.
You might be able to name it. You can't. I don't know what your NDA says.
We were taught. Well, no, it's not an NDA thing. We were just advised that you don't really want to talk about like where you're working in government stuff because stuff happens, and it has happened.
Sure.
We already had like a weird interaction with a lady at like a coffee shop, and he's like,
Oh,
okay.
Sure. That's that's bizarre.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't like a serious thing or anything like that, but it's just that the happenstance that for some reason, while we're talking about the place we were working in, we just happened to have some crazy lady at the same counter as us, and she started talking to us about it. It's like, I don't want to have this conversation. She's asking questions that we clearly can't answer.
She is a Russian spy.
She actually told us that we should look up this thing called, I can't remember what it was called. It was a Russian hacker group, though, that was like they had named themselves after it or something like that. Let's see if I can remember what it is. It might be this. No, I don't remember what it's called. But she was like, you guys should look into this. I was like, the fuck, lady? Why? I was like, oh, it'll teach you many things. It's like,
Teach you many things.
Well, it was so weird, and I don't understand because she was like she was like a civil engineer or something like that. She introduced herself as a civil engineer at least, and just out of nowhere, just some person getting coffee randomly in the day. Why the fuck do you just randomly encounter people like that in the street or at a store and stuff like that? You just decide to have a conversation with you. I don't mind random conversations with strangers, but when they're just like that and they're way too interested in what you're doing and stuff, it's like, please stop. It's kind of creepy.
Yeah, no, I get that. I've never had anyone that weird, but occasionally I'm walking through work and someone that I don't know will just start trying to have a conversation with me.
Your mic just muted.
I'm sorry, what?
You just went silent for a sec there.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
What the fuck? I didn't touch anything.
You're just like, suddenly you're talking and then just suddenly you're like...
The Russian spies are after me.
Oh well, I can hear you now. What did you say?
I'm walking through like a supermarket, and just some random person would just start talking to you. You're not even you're not even saying anything. They don't hear our conversation. They just start talking to you.
Start talking.
It's like, can you not?
Did you ever met Alec, Jai's friend? Looks like a crow.
Yeah, I have met him. I haven't spoken to him much.
Okay, really nice guy. But Jai, him, a co-worker of theirs, and I went out for lunch in the city one time, and we were just walking through the city coals. You know, you can go like one way, and you go through it, and you end up some other place in the city.
Sure, yeah.
If you go through the whole store, because there's like 2 exits. As we were walking through one of the aisles, and we were just looking at a couple of things, this weird old lady comes up to us, and she's like, "Excuse me, you look like smart young chaps." And I was like, "Oh fuck, here we go." And I assure you, this is not a fake thing, and there was no prompt to this conversation. Bloody Jai and his other friend, who I can't remember the name of, sorry, random guy, they just snuck off as Alec and I were ensnared in the witch's trap. This lady starts talking to us about, I can't even remember what medication it is, something like paracetamol or something like that. Uh-huh. It's like, paracetamol and sulfites inside of it. Did you know that they make your legs fat? I was like, what are you fucking on? And she starts just, we're trying to, I don't want to be rude to an old lady and stuff like that. So Alec and I, we don't know what to do in this situation. Yeah. But we're like, no, I'm not sure what you mean. And she's like, I think we need to get those scientist people and into a conversation, ask them about what the sulfites are doing. I was like, I don't understand. What sulfites? What fucking shit is she on about? And there was no escaping. She was following us, and we were like sitting there. We have to go meet up with our friends. She's like walking with us, talking about it. And I was the only way we got out of the situation, I think we pointed out a worker there, and was like, perhaps they can help you with the question. She's like, oh, okay. Walks off, and Alec and I just fucking yeet. We were out of there.
That reminds me of the one time I was back before I drove. I would be catching the train to work all the time, and I was sitting at the train station once, and this old dude, he started talking to me. He was wearing like a conductor's cap. And he started talking about the trains that Adelaide uses and like the history of Adelaide trains.
Oh my god!
I'm like, well, I don't care. Piss off.
Sometimes those conversations are really cool. You have like a really like wise old man who entertains you for the trip. It went for
like 20 minutes.
Yeah,
and I had a book that I was going to read. Like, I don't care about the trains. Nothing you were saying was crazy. It was just all train history. Like, if you walk into like a train museum and you just have like a guide walking you through the train museum, that's what it was.
Yeah, okay, that's not a super ideal thing. I mean, I've had a couple random, like, obviously if I have something to occupy myself, like a book or something like that, that would be better. I'd like to focus on that. But if I'm just sitting there waiting for a bus or a train, or I'm taking either somewhere, I don't mind necessarily if some random person has a chat with me. There's not usually too many situations where that doesn't spawn from a really awkward situation. But, if they happen and it's good, it's good. Sometimes I've had awesome chats with bus drivers too. But there's been a couple elderly people who, like, for whatever reason, they started talking to me. I guess because old-fashioned way, they'd like to talk to someone at the bus stop while they wait. And, I entertain that. So I usually listen to what they have to say. A couple of times, really awesome conversations. I like walk away from that situation. I was like, man, I feel so much wiser. Of course, probably the next day I forget what the hell they were talking about. But at the time, it was like, actually fulfilling conversation. I think you should not always be against a conversation with a stranger on a bus or on a train. Sometimes it's worth it. Not always. Sometimes it's an absolute regrettable mistake. But don't always shy away from it.
But
some of those conversations were pretty awesome.
Speaking of books, have you read my book yet? Have you? You haven't read it, have you?
I read like a couple chapters and then I just never touched it again. And I keep thinking, because I see it there with other books that I'm supposed to read, and it's like, I should just give that back to Brody because I want to read it, but I just never do.
Yeah, for context, I lent Sam a copy of 12 Rules for Life, and he just hasn't read it yet.
Yeah, I mean, the first parts, I loved what I read.
Wait, when did I give that to you?
A long time ago.
Almost 2 years, I reckon.
I think so. I should just give it back to you. I'd probably be better off because I'm gonna be honest. I'm reading another book. I didn't even continue reading your book. I just moved on to a different book. And it's not even that I didn't enjoy the book. I read what I read of that. I was like, that's awesome. I loved it. I just don't know why I moved on and never came back to it. I keep seeing it as well. I was like, I should read that.
So you just have it in a place where you can even see it. It's not like you put it somewhere.
Yes, I can see it right now. That's just in this corner here with some other books like fucking. I've got H.P. Lovecraft. I don't even know if I want to read that. Like,
oh my fucking god!
Interesting man's mind, and inspires a lot of fantasy and stuff nowadays. But I don't know if reading that humongous, gargantuan amalgam of different stories is going to be for me. So instead, I'm reading a bloody young adults book at the moment. I'm reading the How to Train Your Dragon series.
Oh, nice.
Because there's a missed childhood for me reading that book series. And to be honest, it holds up. As a young adults book, probably designed for young teenagers and stuff like that. I've only read the first book. It took me literally just a few hours to read the first book. Didn't take long at all. And that's for someone who hasn't read it, only just recently picked up reading after a while of not doing it. Wasn't hard at all. I think young adult books are actually pretty awesome, even if you read them at an older age. Like some of them, if they hold up, there's humor that you find that you didn't, encounter or probably wouldn't have encountered as you're younger. And there's just, I don't know, a level of writing to it. If it's a good author, it's gonna be good for any age.
For sure. Yeah, for me, I've got this right here. 12th volume of Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon?
I watched the anime.
It's really good. Season 2, less so.
Good.
Season 3 will be better, hopefully.
Wasn't there a season 2 that was not about the main character, and then there was an actual season 2?
Yeah, there's a spin-off series about the top guild.
Yeah, and then people said that
wasn't in the main
garbage.
series, but somehow is involved in stories that also happen in the main series. They just added a new character in it, and then it doesn't make any sense why she's there half the time.
Yeah, and as far as I heard, the series is complete garbo. Didn't watch it.
Yeah, a little bit.
No, I mean, Jen Marchi is just the easier name for it than having to say, is it wrong to try blah, 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 blah. I didn't mind it. It's it's good enough. I think it suffers a lot of issues. Protagonist syndrome, for example. No one can fight this character unless they are the protagonist most of the time.
It doesn't get any better, especially okay, so you have the first part of the series where you fucking have all of that stuff going on that happened in the anime. Then every time there's a new big enemy, the main character is the only one who's doing anything about it because he's just. So basically, his story is supposed to be building up into being the new hero. So every time some terrible thing happens, he has to be the one to save everything. Yeah,
except it's always I'm not strong enough, but then one episode later, I'm strong enough.
Well, yeah,
cool.
He's become a bit less of a bitch now as well, which is nice.
Yes.
It took about 10 volumes for that to happen.
I mean, I've only followed the anime, so I wouldn't know. I mean, yeah. I and it's annoying because I actually like some of the side characters in that a lot more than I like the main characters, to be honest. The blacksmith dude, think he's awesome.
Yeah.
And I forget her name, the samurai as well. The lady samurai. I find those characters far more interesting.
She's joined the main party now.
Yeah, I find those characters way more interesting, and even the other gods / goddesses in that series, way more interesting than the main one, or I've forgotten her name, and the protagonist. Hestia, that's
you're thinking of Mikoto. That's the samurai you're thinking of.
Yeah. I don't know, the protagonist and the main goddess and stuff, they were not interesting characters to me. They were irritating in every scene. It's just let the side characters be useful, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Let them have some time in the sun.
Okay, well at this point, so the rest of Belle's party, they're all at level 2. He's at level 4 at this point, so he's just infinitely stronger than them. Also, we have a character now who can also do a level boost ability, so Belle can also be made level 5.
Superpower Ex Machina.
Pretty much, yeah. Also, obviously, he's got an ability where he can just charge up an attack and basically just kill anything. That happened in the first season as well, where he took out the Black Goliath in one shot.
Yeah. What was it called? The hero something or some shit. His power. Argonaut. Yeah, I hate that so much because that is the most stupid fucking protagonist ex machina bullshit.
That's his character. He is like his character is I am the hero.
Yeah, but there's other anime series that have I am the hero and do it better. One Punch Man has an OP protagonist and it does it better.
Sure, One Punch Man is taking the piss most of the time.
I know, but I still like the characters in that more than I do.
Yeah, well, I love One Punch Man as well. It's a great series.
I haven't seen season 2 still. I only watched the first season. I've rewatched the first season enough times. I know, the animation dropped as well.
Well, no, I mean, just, yeah, the animation and also...
In general.
It's just not as good.
Yeah. Please tell me Moomin Rider has more time in the sun in season 2.
He gets basically killed near the start, which is good.
But it's like killed, like dead?
No, he just gets beat up because he's Moomin Rider and is useless.
Yeah. Honestly, I think there is a hidden beauty in Moomin Rider's character, like from season 1, even though it was for the most part to take the piss. Like, if you remember the anime, like the Fish King dude or whatever his name was, Sea King, whatever, and Moomin Rider was like all that was left for fighting that guy. I think he represents a really awesomely written character because he is absolutely complete 100% useless, but he is, as a character and his story and what he represents, he is awesome and lovable and just fantastic. He represents what a hero should be, even though he has nothing that a hero should have.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think Moomin Rider, honestly, one of the best characters in that series. Best characters like one of the best characters I've seen in an anime entirely. Even if he has this awesome speech about how, it doesn't matter if he can't do anything and everyone's cheering him on, and then he just gets his, shit kicked in. I don't care. Absolutely awesome character.
I completely agree, yeah. Like, he's there... like, a lot of the other heroes in that series are... obviously, they're cool characters. Like Black Luster, for example, which is the greatest character.
He's not had... I didn't see much of him in the first season. I mean, curious about what the hell he's about.
Black Luster... Do you remember who Black Luster was?
He's the shiny black man, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the shiny black man.
Yes.
Oh, wait, let's see if I can bring up a picture of Black Luster. That won't get me struck. No, not Black Luster from Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, I just got that too. OPM.
Here we go.
Right. Oh, he's even more shiny than I remember.
Here we go. How do I switch over? This is Black Luster for anyone who hasn't seen... his name... Okay, sorry, his full name is Super Alloy Black Luster, or Super Alloy Darkshine, apparently. Who is not supposed to be a racial stereotype at all.
Oh my god.
But, like, there are cool characters like that. And obviously Saitama's cool, and Genos is cool. But I get the appeal of Moomin Rider is just there to be like, he's the real hero, except he has no powers whatsoever. He's
a real hero who isn't really a hero because he can't do what a hero needs to be able to do. And even Saitama, there's so much I love about One Punch Man. So I keep looking over this direction because there's a poster on my screen. I don't know if I want to turn to this side of my room because that's where all the garbage is kept.
Well, it's already looking a bit messy over there with what I see, so I can't...
Shut up. Shush. Don't worry about it. Okay, I know. I didn't make much of an effort to hide anything because I don't honestly care too much.
I just framed my shot well.
But it's even worse further in that corner.
Sure, yeah.
You can almost see it, but yeah, you're good. Anyway, One Punch Man. The characters in that, like... I don't know. It's so weird because it is the anime is entirely designed to be a piss take, as far as I'm aware. But then the characters in that are better written than you find in a lot of actual anime, which is so, it for a parody on what's wrong with anime. I would go as far to say it does things better than what other anime does without trying to. The characters are awesome and the side characters get time in the sun, even if they're not useful, but they actually, are important and they do stuff and you get to see what they're doing. It's not all just like, it's why I think Saitama is the Superman that Superman should be, because Saitama is ridiculously overpowered, just like Superman, but he's interesting. I don't give a shit about Superman because it's literally just like, I am invincible. Oh, green rock.
Sure. Well, the thing is with Superman, he's also as strong as they need him to be. Like sometimes, like it's established from the start that Saitama is effectively a god. Like no one can kill Saitama. Superman,
Yeah,
he
which is fantastic.
gets beaten by fucking green rocks. He gets beaten by just random things that don't make any sense, and then other times he can turn back time.
Yeah, and I don't know, it's just, to me, it's garbage. I'm sure if enough people were to watch this, they'd probably be very upset in that statement. But Superman is garbage. I don't care. Superman is garbo. Any other character from like the Western superhero stuff like DC, Marvel, I think any other character could be more interesting than fucking Superman. What's interesting about a character who more or less is just perfect in every way, can't do anything wrong, until they do like their interesting spin-offs when he becomes a bad guy, but baseline Superman, original Superman, just invulnerable unless a green rock's in the way. That's not interesting. You got Saitama, he's super powerful, invulnerable, but he's the dumb fuck.
Yeah, and then he'll like play some video games with the dude who's supposed to be the strongest hero and always loses.
And it's just
You haven't seen that yet. It's in season 2.
I know a bit about what happens in like
the top hero is actually like not the top hero. He just happens to be in like a good situation all the time. Where
is that lion guy?
I can't remember whatever his name is. But basically what happens is there's always some other hero who defeats the creature, or like a meteor will kill it, and everyone always thinks that he's the one who's done it. And he's always just like pissing himself whenever a villain shows up.
Yeah. I remember reading about it. Oh, I've got his image here and I can't get his name up. God damn it. But yes, I know the guy you're talking about. King.
Yes.
That's his name. Yeah, I remember reading about his character because I was interested about like these characters. I really, really loved One Punch Man season 1, so I wanted to know what I could about these characters. And like looking up him, I was so amazed by this character design, because his whole thing is that the only thing that he has going for him is that he has a really intimidating sounding heartbeat that everyone can hear, right? But it's actually, he is super anxious, he's easily terrified, and he just has a really intense face when he's terrified. And that's all he has going for him. And everyone, it's either something else gets in the way to save him, his skin, or people don't even want to fight him because they hear about all these rumors about how he's the top hero, he's, indestructible, and they hear the heartbeat, which is apparently, rumored to be like his heartbeat before he kills someone.
Yeah.
And so they just run away or something like that. This is what I read about him, and I was like, this is phenomenal character writing. Because again, he's like Moomin Rider, he's useless.
All of the characters in One Punch are absolutely amazing. Even the ones who are just stupidly OP.
And
something about this series.
And Pretty Princess.
Yeah, then you have ones that just take the piss completely.
Disturbing character.
But then you can actually go to another series that does do the hero stuff without taking the piss and does it well with Boku no Hero.
I do appreciate the characters in that because they all obviously you still have Deku Ex Machina.
Yeah,
but he's not. I mean, it's taken a while for him to get to be Deku Ex Machina anyway.
Have you seen the new movie?
I have.
You mean the new movie where with the stuff that happened with Bakugo? You know what I'm talking about at the end of the movie? Or are we talking about the old one?
Yes. No, I haven't seen the old one.
Okay.
I've only seen the new movie.
The new one where...
Boku no Hero spoilers coming up right now.
Wait, hang on. Let me do some voice acting here. Alert! Spoilers ahead for Boku no Hero movie. That sort of thing.
Where Bakugo gets fucking one for all.
Yeah. But doesn't.
Yeah, and then they ruined the series, so they just retcon it at the end of the movie.
Yeah, he doesn't, but he also doesn't remember it. And I mean, I guess if One for All is a conscious power, maybe it could make some its own little adjustments like that, like take it away from Bakugo. But it was a bit silly.
Do you know what that movie was supposed to be?
The end of the original planned series, right? Yep. Glad that didn't happen.
Yeah, the series was getting canned, and then it started picking back up again, and that was going to be the end. It would have been such a bad end. See, the thing is, it was cool. It didn't make any sense, though.
Yeah. I actually really liked a lot of that movie, because you got to appreciate a lot of the other characters. I think every character except maybe the Invisible Girl got to do some minutes on screen doing some badass shit. I was like, fuck yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I'm like, maybe this is just like a habit of mine, but I was more interested in the characters like what's his name, Tokiyami, the Birdman, or Kirishima. Is that the hard like hardened guy?
Yeah.
People like that. More interesting characters like him and yeah, those people than I am in Deku or Bakugo. I can't remember.
Well, yeah.
I forget their names so quickly.
Deku and Bakugo are kind of like the Naruto and Sasuke of this series.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, I mean, I like their characters because you know there's a bit more depth to them than the standard ones of those sort of like style at times. But I still hate. You know, I liked Deku more when he was just shattering himself every time he fought and like didn't really win that often.
He's going to get more OP in the next season.
Yes, I got a bit of a spoiler about that.
Do you know about the abilities he's going to get, or what did you get spoiled on?
I just know that he's going to start getting like more quirks, basically.
Yeah, okay. So the way it works basically is, even though All Might never worked this out himself, even though he used One for All for years, apparently when someone uses One for All, they get a portion of the quirks that people had before them.
Yeah.
So One for All's teacher had a quirk called Black Whip or something like that, or maybe that was the person before that. So someone had Black Whip, and then Deku gets the ability to like create these whips that he can like tie people up with. Then the person before that also has a quirk that he eventually ends up being able to use.
Yes. So it's just going to become a bit more OP protagonist with time, probably.
Yeah. Well, we know about the first owner of One for All, and then we know about like the teacher of All Might, and then the person before that. And there's a little gap in there, and now people are fucking doing some weird. I hate the internet because there's two characters in there that one looks like Bakugo, one looks like Kirishima, like older versions of them. So some people think that now Boku no Hero is a fucking time loop.
Oh god.
Just look like a Boku no Hero time loop theory or something.
Wait, who was the other one? You said Bakugo and...
I think it's Bakugo and Kirishima.
How do you spell this one again? Kirishima. Yeah.
See if I can find it. I probably won't be able to find it now. Yeah, I found a picture of it. It's so dumb.
Wait, I'm seeing things I don't want to see. God damn it.
Here we go. I'll send you a link. No, I don't want to go to Reddit. Open image in new tab.
Please tell me this isn't going to be what they do, though. Surely not.
I hope not. I think this is just Tumblr running with stuff.
It would be so garbage.
Oh, it would be, yeah. It's like, oh, it's a time loop because he has a gear and this dude has a gear and the hair looks spiky and he has a gun in his hand.
I mean, I can kind of see the one that looks like Bakugo.
Sure.
I can see that. The one just after that, no.
Yeah, no, it's just like, I have a gear.
Why do people ruin things?
So, Boku no Hero time loop theory, apparently.
Please, no. Just, no. I don't want it.
Yeah, I don't want it either.
God. Anime, man.
Anime. It's fun, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just starting to think about, like, Rising of the Shield Hero. I don't know why it just came into my head, and I was thinking about, like, that's, in a lot of ways, an awesome series, and in so many ways, garbage. Oh, look at it. There it is.
Volume 13, after Raftalia and all that go to Raftalia's homeland, where they wear...
kimonos?
Yeah, kimonos. And Raftalia has to wear a Miko dress, because of course she does.
Right. Yeah. That one, I mean, I liked a lot of things when I watched that. I watched that with my friend Cake from Malaysia, and we watched that, and we enjoyed a lot of it. Then things like, you know, it's just that standard, like, I don't know why it has to be like anime and harem and stuff like that, or God, all sorts of things. Or the character, like, if the only way sometimes that a creator of an anime can make a protagonist complex in their superpowers if it makes them go angry. And you get that issue with the main character of that, and
because anger sounds cool.
Yeah, it's like, no, I can access my power, but I get angry, and only my friends can stop me. Like, I get it, and I haven't seen it in a long time, but I don't watch that much anime to see it, I suppose. So it probably exists, but all the same, just it's mostly the harem thing. I hate that so much. Why does every character have to love the protagonist in an isekai? It feels
I love it.
like
it's great.
I hate it so much. It's isekai in general. I hate isekai, and then I find series that I like that are also isekai. And it's like a love-hate relationship. And like Re:Zero, awesomely written, but still like it's not immune to like female characters liking the protagonist just because.
No, I do have a really good isekai series. Let's see if I can reach it. This one isn't a harem. You probably can't hear me too well right now.
I can hear you fine.
Okay. Let's get an earlier volume. It has a better picture. Yeah.
I did not expect to be talking about retail and anime today.
That's fine. It works. This is Kumo desu ka? Nani ka? Soma Spider.
So, is this kind of like reincarnated as a slime or something?
Yes, but really, like even better.
Yes,
actually, maybe
reincarnated as slime is a
Slime
series
is really
that you
good as well, but this is also a really good series. This is that's volume 7. It gets weird after a while.
So is it getting an anime or something? Because I think I would have heard
Slime,
of it.
yes, it is.
Yeah, that would be why.
But no, this series gets really weird. So initially, basically, what happens is the main character, this girl up here, this little spider, she gets basically reincarnated. So at the start of the series, all of her class is basically transported to another world. It's a typical start to an isekai. Most of them get transported into like the human kingdom, and she is the one who one of the two who gets transported into the dungeon. The other one gets taken out of the dungeon after a while. She stays in the dungeon, doesn't know the rest of her class is alive, basically. And she just has to live in the dungeon. And being a spider, she's one of the weakest creature in the dungeon. So she has to try to, like, work out how to get stronger as the series goes on. And like Slime, eating her enemies makes her stronger.
Yeah. And
over time, she just builds up strength, and after a while, she forgets about the fact she was ever human, and she's like, I'm a fucking spider now. Eventually, she goes to the surface, and there's like a war of people going on, and she's like, I'm just going to kill all of you because you're good experience points.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And yeah, she just doesn't give a crap anymore, because by that point, there's literally two characters who are remotely stronger than her, and that's the Demon Lord, and also like
this. Always a fucking Demon Lord.
But yeah, there's the Demon Lord, and also like the main antagonist who has stuff that doesn't make sense for this world, because the secret of this world is the fact that this is a bit of a spoiler for this series. The fantasy,
spoiler alert.
So the fantasy stuff. Basically, this is actually a post-apocalyptic world. So there's tech from the old world, and the elves lived long enough to bring back some of that tech. So some of the elves will have like tanks and stuff, and like cyborgs and shit. And then all of the fantasy stuff, it's all like a simulation. And early on, the series is just like all in the dungeon. You don't even know about this stuff. As it goes on, they just start taking the piss, and it gets really dumb.
It's like that.
But it's not a harem or anything. The main character's female.
Okay, that's good at least.
There's like one male in the main party, and he's like the caretaker of one of the people. And yeah, basically, it's a really good series. I would really recommend it to anyone. It's fucking stupid. Well,
I don't read manga, so if an anime comes out, I'll maybe give it a shot.
It'll be coming out eventually. It had an announcement trailer.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you're talking about anime and no longer giving a fuck, I remember hearing that Yu-Gi-Oh, the famous for its dubs and everything like that. Obviously, I heard from a friend yesterday. Actually, we were talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, and that eventually the English dub people stopped following the script entirely.
GX, Generation X. Game on, get your game on. Come on, you gotta play your cards right.
I used to watch that as a kid.
It's so good, I love it.
I just saw something about, what was it called? Some elephant thing.
GX is objectively the best opening for a Yu-Gi-Oh! Series ever. Yes, the first series was great. I'm not arguing the first series wasn't great, but go listen to the English version of the GX opening and tell me it isn't the greatest thing ever made. Second only to the German Naruto opening, which we also got in Australia.
How about... I don't know if this would be something that you can't show on your stream or not.
What are we saying? Probably can't show it.
The greatest monster in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, Crystal Beef Arnold Mammoth.
Crystal Beef Arnold Mammoth? No. What the fuck is that?
So you can't show it, I'm guessing.
I don't know. Is there audio?
Yes.
Probably shouldn't. I can show.
Okay.
I can show a picture of the Crystal Beef Armored Mammoth.
So, this is a thing I heard. This is where my friend was telling me about how Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, the English dub just stopped caring and they didn't even follow the script anymore. This thing speaks, and it speaks in an Arnold Schwarzenegger impression in the English dub. And he just does things like, he'll start something's like channeling a lightning attack in that video, and like, the attack's coming towards him, and he's like, save me, Jimmy! And stuff like that.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Just, it sent me down a little bit of a rabbit hole of just GX weird dub shit. Like,
oh, Lord.
Oh, God.
I never actually finished GX, but I know that, like, towards the end of the series...
Neither, and I don't intend to.
I think Jaden Yuki ended up... I think he had a duel with Yugi.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know how that worked.
He'd still be around.
I don't know how it worked. Apparently that's something that happened. He got beat, obviously, because he's the king of games.
Wait. Yu-Gi-Oh! Lost? Or...
Yu-Gi-Oh! Lost. Yu-Gi-Oh! is my favourite character.
Yugi, fuck me.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Look, Yu-Gi-Oh! Lost the moment it existed.
No, Yu-Gi-Oh! Lost when it became Zexal. Yu-Gi-Oh! Surely you know what Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal is.
No, I did not.
I think Zexal is the one where they start playing in VR. Sorry, it's pronounced Zeal, even though it's spelled with an X in it. So, where's the description? In a city in the near future, Heartland City, after the events of the 5Ds series. Oh, it's after 5Ds. Kids and adults enjoy augmented reality duels. Augmented reality duels are duels that use dual gazes and D-pads. D-pads. which when the two are used together, whether on the ground or in the sky, cause monsters to erupt in buildings. The hero is Yuma Tsukumo. At a beginner level, he's the champion at absolutely losing. Oh, Lord.
Oh, this is that. A champion of losing.
Champion of losing. This is... Oh, Lord. The art just... It got worse. Like, there's a thing that's special about the Yu-Gi-Oh! Art, and they just overdid it at some point.
At some point, are you sure they overdid it with Yu-Gi-Oh? Didn't do that from the get-go with the finger guns and everything? At least the English dub.
Finger guns?
You don't know about the finger guns?
No.
Okay, English dub for the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. There's a scene very early on where Kaiba's like on Pegasus Island or whatever when everyone's doing their initial thing. I don't remember the series too well. And these Pegasus agents like kick down the door to his building, and they're supposed to, in the Japanese version, have guns. But instead, there's these sunglasses like Men in Black agents who are like, "There's nowhere to go, Kaiba," and they point their guns like this. Because I don't know, what is it, Funimation or whatever?
No, it wasn't Funimation. It was 4Kids.
Yeah, Kaiba starts making his getaway and like jumps off a fucking cliff or whatever, and they're like, "He's getting away!"
No, I don't know about this one.
Oh, you have to look it up at some point.
We're on a show right now where I can do that.
That's true. I think if you just look up Yu-Gi-Oh! Finger guns, you can probably find it.
Finger guns, yep.
4 kids who did it.
Here we go. Oh, that's amazing. Open a new tab. What am I? They're just pointing at him. They're not even like holding finger guns. It's just pointing at him.
Yeah. But look, if you see the original, like what
Yeah, I've got it. It's a side by side. Yeah.
Grossly pasted in a finger.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, there's another scene of it as well.
Hey?
There's another scene where it happens. I'll send you a link of this one. This is with Pegasus.
Yeah, man, you're gonna get the fucking finger.
I love this. Why is...
I could never go back and watch these series. I tried a couple times. I can't bring myself to do it anymore. It ruins my childhood.
Well, I'm watching the... when I was watching some anime, I haven't done that in a good while, since the start of semester. I was watching through Naruto.
Yeah.
I was watching it in Japanese, because much better.
Man, filler in that series. Naruto's still going, isn't it?
Yeah, now it's in Boruto, and the reason I started watching is because Crunchyroll started posting clips online, and the arc at the time was real weird. I don't know what happened. I think Sasuke can send people back in time now or something.
Fuck me.
Because Boruto was training with Kid Naruto.
Why?
Because they wanted... I don't know, they ran out of content, I guess. So, Boruto and Kid Naruto were training, and... yeah, it was fucking weird. And, like, Boruto was meeting his mum, and, like, meeting everyone when they were kids. It didn't make any sense whatsoever.
Yeah, well, it's almost like they've milked a series for, like, thousands of episodes. Almost.
Somehow One Piece still manages to keep going, though.
Yeah, I can't get into it. I won't get into it.
I read it, and the thing about One Piece, I don't get the people who love it, because there's some arcs which are phenomenal. Some arcs which are the greatest things I've ever seen, and then other arcs where you're like, I want this to end right now. Like
just,
the arc where...
garbage sort of thing.
Yeah. The arc where Luffy met his brother, greatest arc in the entire series, no doubt. And then there's other arcs where it's just like, oh, like there's one where they go to like a sky island or something, and it's just fucking boring.
Wait, is this something with like a god person or some shit like that?
Some
guy who thinks he's a god.
Yeah, he ate like a electric fruit or something, and now he has lightning powers.
Right. I remember that being on like Cartoon Network or something, and yeah, it was terrible. I couldn't stand it. I wanted more interesting things to happen. Yep. That was when I was way younger as well.
Well, the anime is even worse about it, because the anime is actually pretty slow at adapting.
Yeah.
It's fine for something like Boku no Hero, where Boku no Hero is interesting most of the time, but when you slowly adapt One Piece, it's just like there are chapters and chapters where nothing happens. And that'll be multiple episodes.
Yeah, and like, what is it? Like, the writer says he has an end in sight or something like that, doesn't he? Like the creator of One Piece.
I've heard that where it's at now is roughly halfway through.
Yeah. That's not a good sign.
No.
I don't think.
No, definitely not.
And I'm gonna just throw out my favorite anime of all time, because as a credit piece, I think a really good length for an anime, if it's going to be a long one, 64 episodes. And I say that because my favorite anime of all time is 64 episodes. It is Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, and it will forever be my favorite anime that I've ever watched or ever rewatched.
Brotherhood is really good. I feel like that's one of those series that people didn't oversell. Like, people say, like, Cowboy Bebop, great series. I'm like, yeah, it's good, but it's not, like, that great. It's okay. But Brotherhood really holds up.
Brotherhood's just like an actual like full-on work of art. Like the start is hard to get into. I know that because I've rewatched it with people, and when I watched it as a kid, I was like, the first starting bit, I was curious and I was interested, but it wasn't super drawing in. But once you get past it's about the point where you get to a certain dog. It's about after that point where everything you're just like, wow.
I think it's fine to spoil Brotherhood at this point.
Okay, true. But, if people know about anime, they know about the dog.
Sure, yeah. Even if you don't, you've probably seen the memes.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting just before that point, and there's a lot of cool things that happen, but that's really where things just start, like, it just gets... What I find amazing about Brotherhood is that it expands, and it expands, and expands, and expands, keeps getting wider and wider, and you can't imagine there's any way that it could just bring it all together, and then it's just like, oh, hey, by the way, all together, end of the series, and you're like, what just happened?
Yeah, it's a relatively short series compared to some other stuff, but you see how much the characters grow over time. Like, even with
hey, at the beginning, he's so annoying.
Even with go with one of the antagonists with what's his name, Scar.
You're gonna have to describe him, and I'll know. Scar,
yeah,
red-eyed, edgy hand.
Yeah, like at the start, he's like, fucking, I am evil because I don't actually know what really happened, and then he finds out what actually happened to his people, and it's like, oh shit, I've been wrong this entire time. I guess because I should help you now.
He's a hate-filled character, but what's good about him as a hate-filled character is you get hate-filled characters in the series, and they'll always just be like, I don't care, kill them all, and then that's usually like a standard sort of like halfway antagonist who isn't the main antagonist, but he'll be the main antagonist for half the series. Usually they're like the neutral ambivalent character that's either swaps over or dies early at some point. Scar's a really good one because he is a super hate-filled character. Usually those ones don't change sides and stuff like that. But he has so much to his story and everything, and so much to his character that even though he still has a lot of hate for people and stuff like that, he switches sides and he cooperates because he's just awesome.
There's a lot of series where I just don't remember stuff that's happened, but there's scenes in that series where I'm just like, even years after watching it, I still remember those scenes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like the one that's popping into my mind right now is when Roy loses his sight.
Oh, God. Man, when I first watched that, and I was a kid, I was like so sad as well. It was like, imagine just like losing something like that. It's completely against your choice. You had to do it. You were forced to do it, and then you suffer a price anyway, and it takes away something that you have had your whole life. The concept of losing your sight in general is terrifying to me.
But with someone like that, where his entire ability was based on he could see where the target was.
Yeah. And suddenly he can't do anything. Well, he can.
He's got an amazing partner.
It's so cool, yeah.
He trusts his partner so much that he'll use a power as dangerous as just like fucking instantly burning it at a command. Yeah.
So many awesome characters in that series. I mean, this is why I think Brotherhood, it will still always be either, in my heart, it'll always be the best, but if some people will disagree, so I'll just say one of the best anime series you'll ever get, because it fulfills so many things: story, writing. There's if there are any plot holes, they're not very big, or it's just things that you don't need to worry about because it's not relevant to the main characters. And it's like, the protagonists are there, and they're obviously a central part of it, but there's so much more happening with all the other characters. And as I keep pandering about side characters, Brotherhood makes every character important in some way, and it's so fucking good. Roy Mustang is he's just like the mentor character, more or less, and he gets tossed out the window when he loses his sight, and then even at the end you get to see him pull some pretty badass stuff thanks to a character who is more or less has the whole time been powerless compared to Alchemist and things like that. She's just really good at the guns, but she's always stood by her side and is an awesome character and is very independent in what she does and everything. She's badass, and yet she would toss aside that and just help keep Roy in the fight and everything. It's just, I love Brotherhood so much. I need to rewatch it.
Yeah, it's great. It's not my favorite series. That goes to Hunter x Hunter 2011.
Fuck you.
And there's been other series. Brotherhood's not even on my top 10 anymore because there's other stuff where it's just like pushed it down. Like Hunter x Hunter 2011, the Monogatari series, Higurashi, things like that. They are all amazing. And they're all amazing in different ways. Like, I think Your Lie in April's on my top 10 list now. That's also another series.
I know what happens in it anyway, so it's kind of hard to watch it.
Yeah. I watched it when it aired, and I was expecting her to recover, and then like, nope, she's dead now. Like, oh that's cool.
Yeah, I can imagine. Like, I still think if I watched it, I'd probably get hit pretty hard by that. Good series, Parasite, the Maxim.
Parasite is also really good. Parasite's good it's in a way different way.
Yeah, I mean, it's so, the concept is so weird, and the way that, the parasites work is weird as shit, and it looks goofy to start off with as well. Goofy and creepy in the same time. And then when it addresses serious topics and stuff like that, and for me, it had me like really interested in the concepts of morality being presented in a fucking anime about a wiggly hand.
Yep.
And like what it means to be human because wiggly hand.
There was some stuff cut out of the anime that would have been interesting. I can't remember exactly what the scene was, but there was something early on that was cut. That I think
his hand penis.
Yeah, hand penis.
No, you're not talking about that. Are you actually talking about that?
Yeah, hand penis. Because early on, a lot of it was kind of like getting used to this weird change.
Yes.
Then the second arc was... the second arc was insane.
Yeah, there's so much to really say about that. I'm like, oh my god. And that you're not even prepared for when it really like just all goes down. Like when it all goes down fucking hard, and you're just like, what's going on? Stop this. Oh shit. Like
and then it all got just this fucking insane opening.
Hey?
Do you remember the opening for Parasite?
Yeah, it was absolutely bonkers.
By I think it was Maximum the Hormone that did it.
Sorry?
I think Maximum the Hormone was the band who did that song.
Yeah.
They also did the, if you've seen it, have you seen Resurrection F, one of the Dragon Ball movies? Okay, they did Frieza's theme song in that as well, and it was fucking stupid.
Oh, okay. If it's anything like the Parasite opening, then I can imagine why it would be weird as shit.
Basically, the
screaming, non-stop screaming.
Yeah, pretty much the chorus was Frieza, 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 and then the rest of the song was about was just singing about murdering people.
Yeah.
There was nothing of substance. He was just Frieza, 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 murder, 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 murder.
Dude, Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, I grew up with that shit. I loved it so much. But, even though Dragon Ball Z suffered from the terrible bloody, let's have a whole 20 minutes of
20 minutes? Do you know how long the Frieza fight was?
Hey, no, I'm talking about just like when they have episodes dedicated to just the character charging up.
Sure, yeah.
And please get it over with.
So the Frieza fight, the full Frieza.
Are we talking about like the whole fight with every character, or the fight with just Goku and like Frieza?
I think the whole Frieza fight.
Yeah.
Full Frieza fight. I think. Let's see how much it was. Frieza fight. It's not 56 minutes. It's longer than that. Hour and 24. No, it's long. It's longer than that. Surely.
I would believe that if it was just like Vegeta and Goku.
Yeah. Sorry, no, it's 4 hours long. That's more like it. Yeah.
And that, if you assume a standard like 20-minute long episode, that's going to be 12 episodes just for that.
You can cut it down by cutting out like the like last time on Dragon Ball Z.
On the next exciting episode of Dragon Ball Z, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Naruto suffers just as much from that. Like, at the start, like, there are some episodes early on in Naruto where the first, like, 10 minutes are recapping last week. Mm-hmm. It's like, can you not?
Look, I gotta give criticism to Boku no Hero as well. They did that a lot, especially in the earlier seasons. So many flashbacks of the same thing.
Yeah.
I was so sick of it at a point. The number of times there was flashbacks to that one scene where he's, like, in front of a tiny, scrawny All Might. He's like, you can be here. I was like, fucking stop. We get it.
With, you say run in the background. Do, 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 do,
all sorts. It happened in like, all sorts of places. And it's like, I'm pretty sure it happened multiple times in some episodes. I didn't need to see it that many times. Stop it.
But you have to hear you say run. Or Jet Set Run, whichever song it is. They're the same song, basically. Yeah, there's 2 versions of it. There's actually 10 versions of it. They're just used in different parts of the series.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure those My Hero Academia songs got a lot of different versions of themselves.
It's just as bad as SEO with Swordland. Every opportunity SEO gets... Yeah.
Right, never watched it.
Oh, okay.
Refused.
Okay, there's one track, every time there's a serious scene, it's some version of Swordland. Originally it was like orchestral, then it becomes a rock track, and then it just changes every series, but they keep bringing back the exact same song.
Yeah. I mean, look, if it's a theme song and it's iconic, cool. I mean, you can do it.
Sure.
You know, Attack on Titan people did it too. But
Yeah.
10 versions. If you're actually like genuinely, there's 10 versions. That's a lot of different remixes.
Probably, at least.
Yeah, I think good enough is maybe with like each season you have a slight rendition of it. And maybe if there's 10 seasons Sword Art Online, I can understand that, I guess. But it's especially good when you have an iconic theme, and then if you're going to have some climactic thing or something really sad happen, you have that same theme but in a certain key, different instruments and stuff like that to make it depressing as fuck, but it's the same song. That can affect people pretty hard, especially on like the end of a series. It's really good.
Speaking of series that are really good, are you caught up on Attack on Titan?
The anime, yes.
Yes, okay.
Not the manga.
Yeah, I haven't read the manga. I know what happens later. It gets fucking weird in the next season.
Yeah, I spoiled a few things.
I don't know if you've seen this specific picture, but there's one picture where Eren picks up a boat. I'll see if I can find it.
Eren.
Yeah. Because in the next season, they're going to start seeing people from outside of Titanland.
Yeah.
Spoilers
No, it wasn't
for
Eren,
anyone
it was
who hasn't
the
watched
owl.
Attack on Titan.
Talking about? Are you talking about the person who like has the same Titan as him, but he's like what's his name, the owl? Or
Wait, did it already happen? Did I just forget about the fact that it happened? Wait, no, that's his dad who picked up a boat. Sorry. And here's a different one.
There's a scene in season 3 where someone picks up a boat. It's the owl.
That's his dad who picks up a boat there.
No, it's not his dad. It's the guy before his dad.
Who the fuck?
The owl.
Yeah, whatever. I don't remember. I don't want to see Tumblr. Go away.
Is it this thing of some like Titanic vessel looking thing?
I found the picture. Open image in new tab. Okay, that's a really small picture.
I'm
and
curious.
I can bring it up on the screen. There we go.
What I'm seeing right now, I think I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes, it is this Titanic-looking ship.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what about this?
I don't know what the fuck is going on in this series at this point.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you know, like,
yeah.
you know, there's like modern day stuff from like the flashbacks and everything. The big bloody exposition arc.
Oh wait, no,
more or less.
that was a different one. Sorry, there's a better picture of it. It's the one where they're on the fucking Titanic-looking ship and there's Roman soldiers on it.
What?
Look at it. Like, these are not modern-looking soldiers.
Hold on, let me open this.
What is going on? And they're like, a devil.
This is fantastic.
This is how fucking dumb Attack on Titan is.
They don't look Roman, at least from those scenes.
When I first saw it, they did. Maybe a bit less so.
They got like fabric clothing and like some helmets and stuff, but it's not the same era as what you'd expect to see from that Titanic thing, I don't think.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
I'm curious. So, like, doesn't Eren become bad or something?
I don't
Is
even
that what's
know.
going on with him? I don't know. He's like getting edgier or some shit.
Well, he's dying in like 2 years.
Good. I don't like his character.
I think. Well, there's a time skip. I think it's like 3 or 4 years. I don't remember. But the next season's starting with a time skip to when Eren's
good.
like a bit older, like just before he dies. And I guess people from outside of Titanland are coming in.
Okay. Yeah. I know about that. I couldn't remember how long it's going to be. I knew there was a time skip, and I'm curious what it's going to be like. I'm also really curious about what Armin's going to be like as a shifter or whatever.
Oh yeah, you'll find it. How did you feel about the really obvious symbolism when they went back in the times when they looked back in time to when his dad was living in the concentration camp?
Feel free to elaborate, but I think I know where you're going with this.
Oh, the fact that they were obviously living in Nazi Germany.
Yes, right. I had a
And
feeling
the
you were
Titan
going there.
people are obviously supposed to be Jews. Like, it was the most obvious symbolism I've ever seen.
Well, I mean, it's unfortunately we are influenced a lot by history, and it's pretty common to like reference things like that. I think if they're going to go, like, if they're bringing out this modern day stuff and that they like the Titan shifters or whatever other people who of that bloodline were oppressed, then you're probably going to take a lot of inspiration from the most logical source, which is going to be Jewish people getting discriminated against in Nazi Germany, or black people in old America, still kind of modern America, you could argue.
The thing that was weird for me was this like backstory came out of fucking nowhere. It's like they're all living in weird Titan land, and now, it turns out they're actually all Jews.
By the way, yeah, honestly, I'd have been more into Attack on Titan if they actually were more or less the last like living people on Earth besides this strange outer culture.
Yeah, throughout the entire series, it's sort of like a zombie series for a while, and then all of a sudden, like, nope, not anymore.
It's an interesting zombie series, though, because the zombies don't have to find excuses to be powerful because they're gigantic.
Sure, but, like, it's the same sort of formula as a zombie series.
Yeah, it is. You lose characters to them being eaten helplessly.
Except they don't...
And outnumbered.
I was going to say they don't turn into Titans, but that's not true anymore.
Yeah, no. Imagine having a zombie series where someone's power is to turn into a zombie. Like, what the fuck would be the point of that? It's like, oh, I'm slower. And it's like,
when we found out that like everyone's a Titan, just like what is happening at this point?
Well, not everyone's a Titan. Everyone can turn into a Titan.
Well,
or every Titan
sure.
person. I saw some spoilers about how that all works. Because I was really confused. You know, like how the Beast Titans, it just seems like fucking Titans can appear out of nowhere for him.
Sure.
Sometimes, like, when Erwin and all that were like cornered in season 3, and he was
Sasageyo!
And he was like ballistic firing them with scrunched up rocks and everything, which is awesome scene, by the way. But like you saw that scene, like literally just like a series of lightning bolts, and there's suddenly like this all these Titans out of nowhere just there, and I was like, what the fuck? How's he doing this? And I just decided to spoil it for myself. Interesting how they do it, and it's kind of like legit. I don't know how they did it with that point in time, but like how he will do similar things in later in the series. There's an explanation to it, and it's fucked. It's totally fucked, but it's awesome.
I know.
Like just whatever his name is. What's the name of the Beast Titan guy? Zeke?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
You know the guy.
Yeah. I know who he is.
He's just like full on just committing crimes against humanity by this point, like the stuff that you'll see him do, or at least that
I have my suspicions judging by what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just I don't want to say it because again, like spoilers, it's because it'll be fucking sick to find it out, but it's
I tend to spoil myself on these series. Like, I'll see something cool, like, hey, this is cool, let's find something out about that.
You know what? I was so mad that there was a spoiler I didn't want, and this was when season 2 was the only like latest season out, and it was about what's his name, Hans or whatever, the guy who watched like Mikasa and Armin and Eren as kids, blonde dude. I loved his character because he was like a drunkard soldier dude, but he like he had heart and stuff. And at one moment you get to see him start doing stuff, and you're just like, oh, there he goes, gets eaten. He's like, fuck me. And it was by the same Titan as well, like. It could have been such a cool scene, and then I just felt such a slap in the face. But I learned about it as a spoiler, and I learned that he died, and I saw this like the manga version of it. I was so mad because I was like, when I see this in the anime version, I already know what's going to happen. It's just going to feel worse, and it did because you have this whole scene where it's like it's feeling hopeful. I was like, oh yay! Then I just like, no, go on, just get it over with. Just do it. Hurt me.
God, it's a good series for sure.
I hate good character deaths.
Would you rather have bad character deaths?
Yeah, get rid of Eren.
No, I mean like killing off a character badly.
Hey?
I mean like killing off a character badly.
Like that sniffer dog guy.
Sniffer dog?
Dies and no one knows what happens to him.
Sniffer dog guy?
The guy who's, I forget his name, like Owen's right hand besides Levi. He has like a really keen sense of smell.
I think so.
He literally dies with no one ever finds out about it. At least as far as I'm aware, no one will ever find out about it. He just gets mauled, like on command by the Beast Titan. That sucks. That's a bad death. right
Yeah.
there. Which I guess, no surprise that bloody Attack on Titan did that to a character. It's just like
People
Game of
die in
Thrones.
that series, like, for no reason.
Hey?
People just die randomly. It hasn't been as bad lately because most people are just chilling.
Yeah,
inside
but
walls.
I'm sure it'll get worse.
Oh, yeah. Because, well, next season it's like they're going to war against the Titans.
Yeah.
And against the non-Titan people.
We don't have too many characters left, though, that,
Well,
like, from the original
we can go
set.
to, like, non-Titan land, and they can all die.
Okay?
We can, like...
Yeah, I mean,
just send them
you
to
can.
America or something. Just Aaron just, like,
Yeah.
starts going through New York or something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you know, the original characters from, like,
Yeah,
their training group. How many are left? They've got, like, Mikasa, Armin, Eren, Connie, Sasha... I guess, technically, Annie, Reiner, and...
Yeah, Historia, who's... Yeah.
But they're, like... Oh, and Jean as
Yeah.
well.
Well, okay, at
There's
this
not-
point... Armin can't die because he's all of a sudden got the Colossal Titan power, so
Titan powers.
he's good for now.
Yeah.
Eren probably dies when the series ends, because that's how you would end a series like this.
Please end him. Please let him die.
He's probably going to die in the last chapter or something. I don't know.
Please let it happen.
Do you not
I want him
like?
dead.
Do you not like Eren?
No, I don't like Eren.
Oh, look at that!
The only time I ever liked Eren was when he's just a Titan. He shuts up.
Look at that shot of
I
my
like Eren
shirt.
talk. Hey?
The shot of my shirt looks a bit funky.
Oh god, it looks like a Studio Dean animation.
That's how it's supposed to look.
Yeah. And it shows all it takes is a slight fold for Studio Dean appearance. Dean finds a way. That's
Dean
a
finds
meme
a way.
I was exposed to after watching, what was it, one of the Fate Stay Night anime series.
The original
with,
Fate Stay Night.
I didn't watch. I watched the original a long time ago with my sister, but I watched the Ultimate Blade Works. I think it's called.
Unlimited Blade Works.
And
Yeah.
then Jake was telling me about the whole Dean finds a way thing, and he showed me images, and I was like, oh my god.
My favorite thing about the original version of Fate Stay Night is Seaman Dragon.
You cut up.
Seaman
Again.
Dragon.
Hey?
Seaman Dragon.
What?
So okay, there's you know that Fate Stay Night is it's an eroge, so it's a porn visual novel.
I didn't realize it was dedicated to porn, but okay.
Yeah, well,
I know there was
there's sex
weird
scenes in
shit.
it, basically. And one of the
Yeah.
ways you can transfer mana is by fucking.
Is by giving them your seed,
Yes.
right?
And they decided to keep the scene in, but they changed it a little bit. And
Yeah, so,
basically what ended up happening was as a metaphor for finishing in her, there's just like
Yeah.
a dragon that flies through. A really bad CG dragon.
Yeah, I don't remember the scene, but I remember. Well, I don't remember that happening in the scene, but I remember the scene existed, and that's why I didn't want to get back watch another Fate Stay Night series because is that going to happen again?
No, it's
Okay.
so much better now. Fate Stay Night.
Oh, that Unlimited Blade Works was pretty cool. I liked it.
No, you know what you need to watch? You need to watch Fate Khaled.
What?
Fate Khaled. Fate Khaled,
Spell
Line of
it out.
Prisma Ilia. Here we go, we have bad CG dragon. This is fucking ugly. This is the ugliest bit of CG I've ever seen.
Dragon. CGI. Let's have a look at this. Oh my god.
And if you look at if you just look up Fate Stay Night Dean CG Dragon, you'll see the YouTube
Cut out
videos
again.
where it's obviously at the start of a sex scene.
Yeah, but they don't show it like that. Or is it like, doesn't she say like they have to be flustered?
I don't know
They
what-
don't say sex.
I don't know what's said, but yeah, semen is the best way to transfer mana in this series for obvious reasons.
A male wrote this fucking series. God, there's gifs.
Of bad CG dragon, yeah.
Yeah.
See if I can.
Why?
Is this gonna load? We'll see. Oh. Oh, it's so bad. I hate it. Oh, my dog's
Watching
barking.
this gif on repeat, and I'm just.
Yeah. No, it's great, isn't it?
There's so many things that go wrong in animated series that you just don't hear about or you don't remember. I don't remember.
But
Maybe
hey,
I just erased it from my memory for my own sake.
Fate Khaled, watch it.
Spell it out for me and I'll look it up. Fate Catalade?
Khaled.
Oh, Khalid. Is it pronounced Khalid? Or Khalid?
I think that's
Collide?
about right. Fate, it's like a shortened down version of kaleidoscope. And also spelt weirdly.
I bet they're trying to... Yeah, that's why they say Prisma as well. Prismatic. Alright, so Fate Collide, maybe.
The main character is Ilya, and it's a Magical Girl series.
I'm not watching this.
But eventually,
I'm not watching this.
But eventually, you find out that the second main character, her brother is like actually Unlimited Blade Works Shiro. So Ilya's brother is main series Shiro, and Miyu's brother is Unlimited Blade Works Shiro, and Unlimited Blade Works Shiro is way cooler.
I don't want to. This is why I don't want to get into Fate Stay Night at all anymore. Or like after Unlimited Blade Works was enough because it's too much.
No, if you want a good, Unlimited Blade Works is good, but go watch the Heaven's Feel movies when they come out.
Feel movies, aren't they already out?
Third one's not out yet.
Oh, I see.
First two were absolutely exceptional.
I see. God, I don't know. We'll see. I'll think about it. Anyway, I think considering we've been speaking about anime for like the past hour, why don't you just say a bit about Unity you want to say? Because I'm curious about that.
Oh.
Yeah, you never got onto that, did you?
No, I was like, hey, we're just talking about anime now.
Was this supposed to be a tech podcast?
It's fine. Doesn't matter. Unity. So when you're working with that game engine, it's fine a lot of the time, but
you cut out again, for fuck's sake.
It's not cutting out on my side, so it must be
so
your
weird.
connection or
it's
my
your
connection.
Mouth moving and I just stopped hearing.
It's either my connection or your connection. Basically, when you're working with Unity, you'll try to change some settings, and there are other settings that might be dependent on those settings, and you can't just independently change them. So if you change like a transform height, for example, it might modify some other value,
right?
Even though, and it doesn't modify it when you press enter. It modifies it as you're typing. So you could make a mistake in the thing you're setting, and then it will try to make the modification to the thing based on that setting you didn't want to set. But then if you try to undo the thing, Unity doesn't keep a proper undo log. So you'll undo stuff and you can't actually undo to the same point you're at. You undid the stuff that you typed, but it doesn't undo the changes that were made by the typing.
Okay. Well, I haven't encountered that issue before, thankfully, but I didn't know that was a thing. That's
fun,
weird considering how widely used it is. That, because that feels like a glaring issue.
It does, yeah.
But no one's fixed it.
No.
I'll just tell you what. Though,
at least in the version that I'm using, it has been fixed. Could just be the fact that I have to use an older version.
Yeah. As it stands, I want to learn 2D games first, and I'm going to just say it out loud. Unreal Engine is not built for 2D. No. Or at least when I fiddled with it, hell no.
You can do it because 3D is just 2D without 2D is just 3D without the Z-axis.
Yeah, except in Unity, you'd actually make a 2D game using a Z-axis. It's pretty common.
Sure, yeah. But I mean, you just don't do it with depth. It's just a 3D game without depth.
If you ever want to have a look at a really awesome guy who does game development in Unity and stuff like that, Thomas Brush, who's just come out with his new game. A sponsor for Thomas Brush, literally just like yesterday or the day before, his game that he's been working on for 10 years. Neversong, formerly Once Upon a Coma, has come out, and that game is phenomenal looking. I really want to get into playing it, but I've got things supposed to be doing this weekend. And it's named Research Methods. Yeah, and he has some really awesome stuff on Unity and making 2D games with Unity. He has so many tutorials, and I did that game concept thing with Chris and Kung and Brody. I didn't even do that much. In fact, I was mostly just the sound guy and bug fixing. Which, by the way, bug fixing, fuck, nightmare. Considering you're looking at all these massive animation things, I was trying to figure out Chris's animation logic AI logic and animation logic. I was like, what is this black magic? That sort of thing. Trying to bug fix that, wasn't happening.
No, it's fun, isn't it?
Anything that we did with Unreal was just a headache. And then during the break of that same year, I went and fooled around Unity. was just fooling around. No, it wasn't even on the break. It was in another semester.
Right.
I was kind of doing a study date with a girl at the time. Wasn't paying much attention to the girl, so probably not why it didn't work out. Soz. I was full focused on this Unity tutorial, and in like, you know, I'd done a bit of it at home for like an hour or two, and then I did for an hour and two there. Was focused on the rest of it, and then into like 4 hours, I made a parallax. A parallax thing. So basically, you got parallax is when you've got your front thing, you know what your character's standing on the platform, and then say multiple layers of like progressively more faded cityscapes, so like buildings and stuff like that, and they're all there behind them. So, you know, I'd say like this is gonna look bad. It's, you know, you got like your different layers that are at distances, and as you move along the screen, they both move, but they move at different speeds. So, you know, the further back and stuff, the different it moves. It's a really awesome effect. In 4 hours, I managed to make a stage that had that effect really well done and everything like that. I didn't have any animations for my character. I just had this gross dummy that I made in Photoshop that was like, but it was way better than anything we had made in that fucking Unreal Engine semester. And it took me 4 hours. So I just can't say that Unreal Engine should be used for 2D. At least not how we were taught how to do it when we looked up resources on it.
Yeah.
It just broke.
I haven't used Unreal myself. Unity, it's probably fine if you're starting from a blank project. I think my biggest problem is the fact that I'm working with something that already exists, so I'm trying to... Unity's
so you're doing like a game project, are you?
Yeah, Unity's not very good for showing you how stuff is connected. You can obviously say like where it's being used in the scene, but if you're not in the same scene, you can't do a search across all of your scenes. Like, where is this file being used?
There could be plugins.
There could be.
Possible.
But at least with the version of Unity I'm using, not a thing you can do. At least vanilla Unity.
Yeah. I already, like, before I even like got into Unity, like Thomas was like, here's some pretty much fundamental plugins that you should have, because it like just adds some really awesome functionality for like cameras and stuff. 'Cause it's like settings you can do for like a camera in 2D, which is like orthographic and perspective, but while perspective is what you would consciously think you'd use for parallax, because perspective is where everything has depth, he actually uses orthographic and makes a script for the parallax stuff. I couldn't remember how it worked right now because it was like a year and a half ago that I did it, but
wouldn't be difficult. It's just two different speed variables.
It's like it's pretty much just like a whole it takes like XY movement on a variable based on what the Z-axis position is. Yeah,
you'd basically just normalize your movement speed and then multiply it by whatever the movement you want for the parallax.
Yeah, pretty much. And obviously you could, if you did that at a base level, you could have it so it's like a set value on how fast it moves just based on the distance. But the way that this script provided was, and plugin, and how you could set up was basically, you could do that whole thing, and then you could set the actual value for what an adjustment to the Z-axis is. So then it's, dynamic how fast you can have the layers moving. Really, really cool, really awesome stuff that you can do in that for game making. I really want to get further into it because I need to have probably a portfolio ready.
You're not getting into game development without a portfolio.
Exactly, and I have a couple of things I could show, but they're not enough. I don't feel. From what a friend of mine told me, because a friend of hers actually applied for this Mighty Kingdom thing that I'm going to apply for. And he has done software engineering stuff, and it's actually for a software engineer. Apparently, software engineers have an advantage in game development when they get into it because of the way that we program is I guess it's that extra step that we take into learning programming or something like that. But if you take a game dev course in certain places, like this is a friend in Brisbane, I should specify, it seems that obviously you taught how to game dev, and that's good because you know how to use Unity, but you are not taught a lot of niche things to programming as just like using a language like C# or something like that.
Sure.
I'm guessing that's where the logic applies. I don't know, don't quote me on that, but that would be my presumption on why software engineers get an advantage.
When you do a game dev course as well, you also do art and you do a bit of other stuff as well. Like when you
interact with art, but you aren't expected to be able to make art.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah, you do like a bit of modeling, bit of art as well. But if you're just doing a software engineering course, you're just doing the programming, and you learn programming concepts.
From what I hear about, like QUT University and places like that in Brisbane, where they do game dev courses, you don't learn how to make the models and stuff unless you do like minors in it. But you are taught how to apply assets to, your Unity game or your project or whatever.
Sure.
And it's not too hard to learn, I don't think. I haven't done too much in animation, but applying an asset isn't hard. It's attaching it to a character and hitboxing it even. Not hard at all.
No, not at all.
At least on the 2D level. I'm sure 3D might have its edits.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, just... Yeah. That's just my understanding of what logically would be the explanation, is that they learnt a lot of varied things. And I think it's important to know a variety of different things if you're going to get into a field. Because, my dream, I want to have my own game studio, independent studio, which would be my dream aspiration, which is not an easy thing to do. This is something I would say probably something I could only achieve 10 years in the future. If I was lucky, maybe not.
Well, you can start making a game now, do it next year, see what happens.
Yeah, well, it's harder to, if you want to be the one running the game studio and stuff like that, and you'd have to be leading people, you'd have to be having people you can trust and work with, you need to know people. And I think for being in a position of management or leading others while making a game, or with anything, I think it's important that you take the time to learn the basics of what other people are doing. Because I always find a leader or someone who's overseeing everything, or someone who is mediating, even like debates or arguments between co-workers and stuff, it's always going to be better if you are the person who's taking the time to understand what each of these fields do, because otherwise you're going to have a jaded, short-sighted perception on what their actual tasks are. It's like you see a greeter and your initial perception is he probably doesn't do anything, or your perception is going to be he has a lot to do because he's like a security guard. But neither of those are particularly true either way. It's all about understanding the baseline, at the least, of what people has to do. And if you're not doing that, hey, how can you be a responsible leader who's going to know what the actual issue is? That's my TED talk.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add to that. I don't disagree with any of that. Yeah. It's kind of why, you gave me an introduction saying I am an artist, just voice actor and stuff like that. And I am not a professional artist. I'm not a professional voice actor. I like doing both of these things, and I have a drive to do it both because I'm passionate about them, but also because I think if I'm going to be making games, I need to understand what an artist has to do. I need to understand what an animator does. I need to understand how voice actors work, because especially if I'm running my own studio and I'm going to be doing creative direction, which is what I want to do, I need to understand what these things, how these work, and so what I can expect from people when they're doing their jobs. Yeah. And there are people who are in leadership positions who don't do that, and that's where you get a lot of strain, either on your job where people expect you to do more than you can, or they just aren't understanding what the issue is, and they're just fix it, Lamau. Yeah, the big problem you see with upper management in the more complex positions is the people who've forgotten what it's actually like to be someone who's on the floor doing the work. It's like someone who's in a dev position and their boss has forgotten what it's like to actually be a dev. They just want it done. It's like, can you implement this thing that completely changes the entire scope of the project? It's like,
I could try.
do you want to give us an extra 6 months?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that what you're going to do? It's like, no, can you do it by next week? It's like, no, we can't.
Yeah. And it's why you get a lot of issues in large game industry and stuff like that with the whole concept of crunch, because people will set deadlines that are unreasonable to what everyone has to do for their work line. You game dev in a large industry, say Blizzard or even CD Projekt Red with the upcoming Cyberpunk 2077, they are admitting that they didn't want their employees to go into crunch, which is
I did hear about that, which is awesome.
But in the end, it's happened anyway. So that sucks that they've had to do that to their employees, because that's a thing with game dev. A lot of the time, you've got people who end up having to do way too many extra hours for their work, and it destroys them physically, mentally. Their health is just shredded. Their lifestyle is ruined because they have to meet a deadline that's completely out of whack. That sucks.
That's the big reason I don't want anything to do with game dev. The crunch is just that. Obviously, it's a thing with all industries, but with game dev, it's such a different thing, because, if, say, I don't know, the new version of Firefox is out a couple of weeks later, it's a bit different than we are developing a game, it will be released on October 2nd, and all the advertisement is October 2nd. It will be released then and only then.
And, yeah, it's this. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why I want to have my own game studio and make smaller game, or be a small studio, because I don't know. I don't like AAA games too much. I like that there's a lot that you can do with a AAA game, but there's always problems with it.
Of course.
I feel like it loses sight of, or like it loses its connection. I would like rather be a mid-tier sort of one that, you know, a small studio can still do big projects, because you can see some pretty amazing projects being done by small companies now. That's where I want to be. And a focus from, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's fine.
I was going to say a focus for me would be trying to avoid things like just putting way too much pressure on the health of employees and things like that would be important to me. I know it's something that would be difficult to establish, and I don't deny that, but it's something I'd like to try and do.
Well, what I was going to say was I was talking to one of my mates about mascot platformers the other day. He didn't know that Ty the Tasmanian Tiger was a thing that existed, which is really sad for him, because that's an amazing game. Tell me you know what Ty the Tasmanian Tiger is. Oh, fucking hell.
Hang on. I'm terrible with names, remember. Spell this out for me.
Ty, so T-Y, the Tasmanian Tiger.
Oh, I've seen this. I never played it as a kid, but I did know it existed.
Okay, well, basically we were talking about mascot platformers, so whatever it is at the time, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, things like that. Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah. Sonic.
The reason why those, like, all the AAA studios were making them at the time was because that was the thing that they knew would make money. And that's why all the AAA studios now are making things like, I don't know, fucking, what are we doing now? Battle Royales, or we're making FPS games, or we're making whatever it is that the current trend is.
Yeah,
when you're a AAA studio, you can't really take as many risks, at least with... You could in the past. In the past, because it was way cheaper to make a game. Now the cost that goes into making a AAA level game is absolutely immense.
Yeah, because they start going into some really, like, they have, like, you know, the same size of an indie dev team for a project is probably like a sub team on some aspect of like one field.
Yeah.
You know, like you got your art team that's probably like the major head board, and then you got like your sub teams that handle the sub teams, and it's like fuck.
So if you
that's going to be that's yeah.
If you want to do something that's truly creative, you have to do it indie, because a big studio isn't going to give you that opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's
obviously there's good titles that come out of big studios, but I mean, if you want to, like, no one's going to pay for a mascot platformer in 2020.
Yeah, you're right that AAA studios take a big risk. Like they can't take big risks, sorry, but they would take a big risk if they do something out there, or they don't do like what gets them the most money, because in the end, yeah, they're funding a ton of people. But there are times, you know, where a AAA studio has done really awesome things and stuff like that. I give credit to it. However, you often, you know, and that's when people start giving a reputation to a big studio and they start getting a lot more traction. They become even bigger. But then suddenly you start seeing things like, I'll just give a good example, Blizzard. I used to fucking love Blizzard because I thought a lot of the stuff that they did was awesome and things like that. And they used to have a really good reputation for their employees. And then suddenly, like, they would, you know, everyone loved Blizzard. And then give it 2 years later, everyone hates Blizzard. Blizzard, like, mistreats their employees, all that shit like that. And all this stuff, and it just gets worse and worse. And then they start, you know, they sell their soul to Activision, and then suddenly Activision Blizzard's a thing, and oh my god, it's getting worse. Yeah. And now, like, no one has much faith in Blizzard at all. At the moment, CD Projekt Red is like the big standing one that everyone has faith in. I'm worried that it's just going to be the same thing again and again.
Yeah, well, I think the big thing with them is they actually are treating their devs properly. So hopefully they don't go that direction.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
I mean, yeah, it's a weird thing. Here's this other thing that people, and like, I feel like people on the internet, because, you know, people love to just be angry on the internet as well and stuff. People don't want to accept the fact that there are good people working in AAA.
Oh, sure.
You know, it's like,
when people say AAA is this, AAA is that, they don't mean the devs on the floor. They don't mean the writers. What they mean is the I guess the culture that's built up around it, the structure that a AAA studio enforces. Like, no one's saying Joe Schmo, who's developing this feature in whatever Call of Duty game, is the problem.
Yeah.
Is my light dying? I think it might be.
There was an interesting person. Do you ever watch Freddie W. or like Corridor Digital sort of stuff?
Who cares? The names don't ring a bell.
You would have seen their videos in the past. Corridor Digital did a bunch of like anime fidget spinners, if you ever watched that video with Mike Diva.
Maybe.
Oh my god. Okay. Well, point is, they did a lot of really cool film stuff and stuff like that. But one of the members, Brendan JLA, was interested in game dev, and he was very well associated with people even from EA and stuff. And he spoke out about this, the fact that even people on the high end, like people on the high board of EA and stuff like that, they let out a game, and he'd be sitting with this guy like a couple of days after release, he'd be getting drunk at a fucking bar, upset, really angry and upset because he doesn't understand why people are hating the game. And it's just to point out that there are people who actually care about what they're making in those companies and stuff. It's not like it is not just some great autonomous Skynet thing that's like, release the battle royales, yes, my children. No, there are people who are actually putting their heart into the games and stuff that they're making, and you can see that if you take a moment, take a breath, you'll see that there are things in a game, even a AAA game, that has a lot of heart to it. You got characters and stuff like that.
If your stakeholders are like, you have to make a battle royale, it's not like you're just going to not put effort into it. But the stakeholders are still there saying, we need cash. Like, you need cash flow. So even
reputation.
So you might be forced to make something that you hate, but if you respect your job, you're still going to put the effort into it.
Yes. And the reputation I often hear is that the biggest evil, the main evil you find in a big game industry is the marketing team, because they're the ones who don't, at least most of the time, actually don't have an understanding of game development and what people want and stuff like that. They are interested in the money. That's what we were told in Game Concepts, and what they explained of it made sense to me. I don't know, I'm sure there's people in game, marketing and stuff like that who actually wanted to be game marketing people, and they probably care about it. But I can understand, just like a lot of other things, there's always going to be people who have a very machine-like way of seeing things, and they're not the kind of people who should be in a game development scene, or even any sort of artistic or entertainment development. I don't think machine-like people are the best kinds of people to have in those things, because they're just going to try and do whatever makes the most money. And the thing is, you're going to make the better money if you actually care about what you're making. As it's not such a disrespectful thing to follow Battle Royale if you actually care about what you're making.
Yeah, sure.
But a lot of people just make Battle Royale because they're expected to make Battle Royale, make money, and then it's like, fuck, well, there we go.
Yeah.
I don't like game companies tossing away their ideologies for the sake of just what buys or gets the most purchases.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. And it goes to show it was only, Blizzard's had its big controversies, for example. Again, I feel Blizzard's a really good modern day example of this. Blizzard had its massive controversies of everything developing, but there were still original founders, the original three dudes. One of them dropped off early. I think he probably either he was ready to move on, or he dropped off because he made a good call. Who knows? I don't know the story there. But another one of them retired out or dropped off, and he got drunk on a stream or something like that as a guest appearance, and he just ripped into basically discussing how marketing aside and just the large what do you call it, board of directors, where you've got the CEO and everything. I forget the term.
I think that would be it.
It was just it became a massive aggressive takeover on Activision's side of things, and it wasn't just the founders, but other people who were really passionate about what they're doing just losing their jobs because they were pressured out of it. And while I don't know if he was pressured out of it or not, but he wasn't happy. And while he hadn't done so many great things recently either, I think he was, interesting to see that basically he was pointing out that Blizzard is just losing track of what was Blizzard. I mean, once the head's completely, replaced with something else, is it really the same industry? You still got the good people working for it, but are they being directed in the same way? I don't know. Depends on the people you get. That could be, because obviously, just like a company that's been around for a century or something like that, you always the same people who created it originally will disappear eventually, but sometimes it can keep its image if the people replacing them are actually a good, what do you call it, successor. But if we're talking companies like game industry and stuff like that, that's probably not what's going to happen all the time. You're often get financial reasons and stuff where they're being replaced by someone else who's part of a stakeholder, or a company that's been sponsoring them or something like that and gets invested in it that way, and then things get complicated. That's something I fear. I really want to be a game developer. I want to have my own studio. I want to make games as a creative director, but I always had this fear of how easily can strings get attached to what I do, and I find myself the puppet.
Yeah, the big question with that is if you let yourself be financed by other people, or if you're trying to run the studio entirely by what the studio can produce and what you can put into it. If you let your company get taken over by stakeholders, that inevitably has to ruin the vision you had for your company.
Yeah.
Unless your vision is, I want to make as much money as possible, your vision will end up having to shift if you bring other people onto the team.
Yeah, and this is why Thomas Brush is a really good example, considering he is almost entirely a single man dev team. He does work with a couple of other people for certain things like illustrations and stuff, but he does the art, music, and almost all the game development himself.
Yeah.
And 10 years to make his dream game. It's a long, heavy road, and that represents the outlier, the person who could pretty much get away with making a game and funding it almost entirely off of the previous thing he made. Obviously, he probably had a few financial supporters and stuff like that, but he kept it to a minimum.
Yeah.
I think it is, if you want to stay true to what your your company or your studio's dream or ideology, or as a developer, if you want to stay true to that, you need to be careful about how much financial support you accept and from who.
Yeah.
But that's just how I see it.
No, I that makes sense.
I'm sure there's other influences as well. I mean, people change too. If you're even if you have a founder group of 3 people like Blizzard style, there's nothing to say that those same people couldn't suddenly change the way they see things, and where they started off as people who are inspired by creative ideas and dreams, suddenly they become obsessed with the money that they're getting. Or
they see the bag and I'm going to chase the bag now.
Yeah, obviously that can happen.
Hopefully, if you start a company with people, though, you do pick you'd hope you'd pick the correct people.
Yeah, I feel like, and I say I feel like because I do not like assuming things of myself, especially when it's discussing my future self, because I think people change. I'm of that belief. I feel as though with the way I see things now, I would not be someone who would change that dramatically, that I just suddenly start chasing money. However, as I said, people can change, and you can change without even realizing you change, sort of thing. So that's why I say I feel like, because for me, I don't care about being super wealthy and stuff like that, which is why I'm still, I hear like game developers, especially if they're really independent, might struggle with finances a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I don't care about that, because I will be happy so long as I can live comfortably in just a basic household. I don't want anything fancy. I don't want a fucking fancy car. In fact, I want a cheap thing. I'd be happy with a scooter. In fact, I'm going to get my motorcycle license soon.
Oh, are you?
A scooter. Yeah. I want to go for a motorcycle license because I hate cars. And just like stuff like that, I'd rather live a simple, in a simple household. As long as it's a comfortable environment, I can just be happy with what I do and what, how I live, not have to stress too much about. I mean, if I can get out of that uni rut of like stressing about even like what I'm eating and how much I'm paying for food and stuff like that, if I can get out of that rut, fine. And I'm not going to just force myself into a situation where I'm paying extra for like a slightly fancier house. Fuck that. Whatever I can work with, that's all I need.
Well, that's why I've talked about wanting to live rural, because it's just way cheaper out there. Like, if you can do everything you want to do out there, you might as well. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff you can't, but if you can live rural, you might as well.
Yeah, if you could do it, that would be sick. I'd like a bit more, I like suburban.
Sure.
I don't really think I'd enjoy too much the idea of living in the city. I don't think I'd enjoy living rural. Just that middle ground where I could go either way and be fine with it. That's comfortable for me.
For me, I used to live rural, so it's kind of just getting back to how I grew up, really.
I suppose so, yeah. Imagine that, the country bumpkin is the one who's like a super IT man. Isn't that crazy?
Mate, I had nothing better to do there. It's not like there's anything to do out there.
I wouldn't know. I mean, I used to be like dragged up to the Murray River with my mum like every second weekend for a while until I was allowed to choose, and then I kind of stopped coming because I didn't enjoy it too much there. It wasn't my environment.
Sure.
There were things I liked. Water sport was great and stuff like that, but in the end, that's only one part of the day, and I'm a person who is much more enjoys a inside lifestyle most of the time. So
you're a fan of water sports, Sam?
I liked it when I did.
Got to think that one through a bit.
Well, I mean, like, I'm not really a fan of sports entirely, to be honest.
Fine, you're not getting the joke anyway.
No, what is water sports?
Just look it up after the show.
Urban Dictionary? Brody. Brody.
You're the one who walked right into it.
Because you didn't want to explain it to me. God. No, not that, you fuck nugget. No, I mean like kneeboarding.
I know what you're saying. I'm just fucking with you.
I know you're fucking with me. I could tell the moment you start smiling, like you're a fan of water sports. Like, oh fuck, here we go. What am I dragged into? Yeah. Look, here's something you might. I don't know if you've had this discussion with people before, but the concept, I think it's a one that's been discussed enough times, but the concept of like nerds as a culture and stuff like that is very weirdly malleable nowadays, or it's a lot more wide spanning. When you think nerd, usually, historically it would have been like the guy who just mom's basement computer. And when we still do that, and there's still people who are like full on hardcore, that nerd culture or like geeky culture, that, IT culture and stuff like that is so much more wide spanning. We are inward lifestyle people. We like being on our computers. We're playing games and stuff. But then at the same time, example, myself, and I'm pretty sure you as well, and other friends of ours, we love going out as well and doing, certain things. Like I would happily go out and do fucking archery and judo and shit like that, and sport to an extent. I don't have an interest in like AFL, but we are at the same time exactly what those stereotypes would still suggest, but we are also so much more outgoing and stuff. Surprisingly, and when despite the fact that most of the time you'd hear people complaining about, we live in a society, here we go, societally that people are becoming way too shut in. Yet you find there's people who are, those nerds who are going out and doing things where previously that was just not what you'd assume of them. I don't know. I find that cool.
It is, but we're almost at 3 hours right now.
Yes, right.
And that would be a great conversation to have for another podcast. And I didn't even touch on most of the stuff that I was going to talk about today.
Yeah, we kind of just derailed. In fact, I think the first few subjects are probably things that people don't want to listen to, retail and anime.
Oh, that's fine. If they stick around, they can, I don't know, they might. No one watches this show anyway. I think it got like...
You should do a... What's it called? It's like what Philly DeFranco does and stuff like that. They're the I know you do highlights and stuff like that, but timestamps of particularly good points and stuff like that, so people can skip along if they don't. I'm sure if you know general idea of what we talked about, which is like 4 topics.
Yeah. Okay. Well, other episodes it's a bit harder than this.
Yeah. True.
Some episodes we jump around stuff constantly.
Yeah, that is true. But in any case, yeah, I mean, I think that the second half of this podcast had a lot better topics, in my opinion, of what I was interested in, because we talked about retail. I hate retail. That was just a hate rant between both of us.
Did you hear about what's happening with Joe Rogan? Have you heard that?
Which thing?
Okay, he's going to Spotify exclusively.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, he's not going to upload stuff to YouTube anymore?
No, he's got the rumor is that Spotify gave him a $100 million deal to exclusively upload to Spotify.
Give him 100 what?
$100 million deal.
Ah, I see.
And the new rumor is it's actually $200 million.
So nothing else, like literally nothing else, not even YouTube highlights anymore and stuff like that.
No, the YouTube highlights will full clips. There won't be an audio version anywhere besides Spotify. The video version's also going to Spotify as well.
Right.
Apparently Spotify now has video, which is new.
Interesting. We'll see how that streaming works. Everything setting up a new video streaming site always works perfectly.
Granted, Spotify, it's not like they're a new streaming site.
No, but I mean, like, they're not... they're new to video.
Sure, yeah, video's a bit more demanding than music is, but I feel like Spotify at least knows how to do streaming at this point. So, okay. Yeah, I thought you might have heard about that. Okay, lucky I didn't bring that up as a topic then, because...
No, I mean, I like Joe Rogan, but again, I'm not a podcast person too much, so sure. I only see, like, highlights every now and then. I'm like, oh, Robert Downey Jr. was there. Cool.
But supposedly he's going to be bringing Alex Jones back on the show, which is going to be fun.
Oh, God.
Just break the internet.
I feel like, because Joe Rogan's such a neutral person, like caringly neutral person, I think, a lot of the time. It feels always like awkward to see people trying to attract controversy. Like, obviously he might make it like do something that might actually upset people. Cool, yeah, sure. But he's not if you spend any time like acknowledging Joe Rogan, you know he's not a person who's trying to like attract any form of proper conflict. He literally just exists as a platform to let anyone speak, and like that's it. Like he'll hear them out and he'll even discuss with them. Even if it's something he doesn't agree with, he'll discuss it with them. And people get offended if he like discusses something with someone that they don't like. And stuff like that. It's silly to me because he's just like he's a really good beacon of what people don't do enough nowadays, which is actually listen to other perspectives.
Yeah, hopefully I get better at that and stop cutting people off, but we'll see.
That's why I don't talk to you about politics.
No, just like regular talking on this podcast. It's very easy to cut people off when you're talking online.
Yeah. Look, it's something I try to be conscious of as well, because I always like, especially because we're on Discord, you go to say something and I'll like not have seen you start saying something as I start speaking. We'd like, it's that collision. You're like, fuck, I just interrupted him. Yeah. What do I do? You never want to be like that too much, but it'll happen. It happens. It's human.
So I think we'll just end it there because I've actually got some things to do after this. I'm
starving.
Which is weird because usually it's other people that are busy, not me.
I'd say I have things to do. It's just research methods and.
Oh yeah, you got to get the introduction done. And how are you going on those questions?
So as it stands, I've basically just because I hate fucking writing research methods. I just got my sources and I like noted them out basically, and then it's like. Basically, like what do you call like a shitty mini paragraph or sentence, and then it's like I'll take those dot points and I just amalgamate into an actual paragraph.
Okay, cool. It's probably going to be something tonight.
Yeah, that'd be easy. That's the idea. I was going to do it yesterday, but I was helping someone out with databases.
Okay, cool.
They needed to learn.
Awesome. Yeah. So, do you have anything that you want to shout out?
No. At this stage in my life, I'm just doing my honors and everything like that. I'm not doing too much of myself or nothing that's worth sponsoring, at least.
Don't have a place where you upload your art or anything like that?
No. Nothing that I can share. I don't mind. Okay. There's a pretty good YouTube channel. I forget what it's called, Brody Robertson or something like that. You can check that out. I have enough influence that I could sponsor it, probably.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You can send thousands of people there.
You guys might want to check that out. It's pretty useful. If you like this podcast, I think you'll like that YouTube channel. It's pretty good. But besides that, I don't know. If you want to have me on some other time.
You're free to come back on any other point.
Yeah, if you run out of people to talk to.
I do have a couple of people I do want to bring on. Some are a bit busier than others.
Yeah.
I did have Josh planned for one point, but he was busy when I tried to get him on. I might try to do that at some point.
I think it's good that you at least at this stage, bring on people who are not like all super big or anything like that. Which some of us are just your fucking friends from uni and shit like that, and you bring them on for a podcast. I know it's a small podcast, but it's interesting to see that.
Well, that's what Joe Rogan did from the start anyway. It just happens to be that his friends are also celebrities.
Yeah. I found, I've always thought like a podcast would be interesting if like it never... I guess it started off by trying to do like a mix of like people who are well known and people who aren't. And as you get further into it and more popular, I think a really cool, successful podcast would be one that keeps doing that. That like people who don't, I guess, get as much podcast or aren't usually sought out for podcasts and things like this. Think of like someone who like had if someone like Joe Rogan is like that had like fucking guests on who are like just a teacher from like his high school or something like that.
Sure, yeah.
Be like. Really interesting, I would find.
Well, last week the guy I brought on had like 500 subs, so
yeah, good. If this podcast can get a lot of traction, I think it would be good if you encourage both bringing on people who are influential or well known and stuff like that, because that's good for both of you, and it's just it's good for everyone. And doing your bit to support small people as well. And I think that's what podcasts often do anyway. It's very good. As it stands, you can interview your uni friends and stuff like that. You'll probably stop doing that as you get bigger, but still support smaller people in any case.
Maybe you'll stop being a uni friend and you'll run a game studio at some point.
Yeah.
And then we can use it and advertise that.
Look, if I get there, sure, happily I'll be on your podcast. But I mean, like, I'm talking about other people here. I don't mind if I'm on your podcast again or not. I didn't mind if I was on the podcast to begin with.
I get what you're saying, though.
Yeah, you asked and I was like, sure. And I'm sure most people would be like that. It's like, yeah, it's good that you're doing it.
Yeah.
Keep with it. I think it's interesting.
Thanks. It's a positive note to end on. So, before we go, I would like to thank my patrons. So, a special thank you to Joachim, Nathan, Andrew, Peter, Leroy, Tony, LQ, Larry, and Zilva. If you want to support the Patreon, there'll be a link to all of that down below, as well as my Amazon affiliate links where you can buy the gear I use in this channel, or just anything else you want to get a small kickback for it. This podcast is available on Library and YouTube for the video version, and the audio version is available anywhere you listen to podcasts, so iTunes, Spotify, anywhere else like that. And yeah, go check out the main channel, available on BitTube, Library, and YouTube. I think that's pretty much everything. So Sam, how do you want to end out the podcast?
Just, you know what, I thought you were about to say that you were sponsored by something, and I was really wanted to just bring back on that Raid Shadow Legends. But,
Brought to you by G Fuel.
How do I want to end this? I don't know. Thanks for having me on. It's nice to have a chat with you, especially because I haven't really spoken or seen you in ages as well.
That's been a while, hasn't it?
It's interesting being on a podcast.
It does make the podcast more interesting when you haven't seen the person in like fucking 8 weeks.
True. And yeah. I mean, it's interesting being on a podcast in general. I have a lot to say, but I am not in any way a qualified voice in a lot of things. But, you know, I like talking.
I was talking to Connor about the coronavirus, so I think we're all in that party.
Yeah. I think so long as it's acknowledged that what you're saying is, you know, it's more of a you know, your brain piece, your piece to that puzzle, as much as what you assume to be the all-knowing solution. Mm-hmm. People acknowledge there's nothing wrong with thinking.
Yep. That's nice.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, and I'm going to go eat.
Yeah, I need to go buy some food, actually, before the shops and all that close. I don't want my butcher to close before I get there.
All right.
Cool.
Okay, thank you. And,
yeah.
talk to you later.
Yeah, talk to you later, man. And I guess the next episode of the podcast, I don't know who's going to be on it, actually. At this stage, fuck, I don't know who's going to be on it. It was going to be Marty, but he's not going to be available till the Tuesday the podcast is supposed to be out. So I might bring... I was talking to Sasindu a while back. He might come on the show. That would be an interesting show. Or I might do a solo episode. We'll see. If he's busy, I'll do a solo episode.
A solo episode? Look, if you ever are desperate for a non-solo episode, I'm sure a few of us would happily give you company. Have you ever thought about doing multiple people?
Yeah, I'm going to bring Kenley and Corey on for the Mr. Robot episode.
Wait. Yeah, we spoke about this, didn't we? Or did I speak about this with someone else?
You might have spoke to Corey about it, because we didn't speak in the episode about it.
When you came on to the Zoom meeting thing for ICT, we were speaking about you and I will be being haunted by Corey and Kenley trying to get us to watch Mr. Robot. I'm still not going to get around to it.
I'll do it at some point. I haven't even started yet. I haven't watched any anime in
you have to.
Oh yeah, I'll have to buy the podcast, but the podcast can keep getting delayed until I watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, you should do some multi-person podcasts, because then it'll be... I mean, it's good that you do one-to-one. One-to-one is always good, because you hear, you know, that person gets to speak their whole mind. But it's also good to see how some people rally, and even like different people and stuff like that can communicate. It's good. Yeah. Anyways, that's a suggestion.
No, I'm behind the suggestion. I have artwork for those layouts as well, so... Cool, so I think we'll end it there. This has been... I didn't even announce what episode this is. This was episode... I don't know, 13, maybe.
Do you want me to find out for you?
I think this was episode 13 of Tech Over Tea. I'm going to find...
Already losing all of its traction.
If you're still watching 3 hours into this, thank you. It's episode 13 of Tech Over Tea. Thank you for watching 3 hours and 8 minutes into the podcast. I need to go buy some food and do some other stuff. Sam needs to go finish an assignment that we need to compile by tomorrow. And yeah.
Adieu.